Welcome to the Four Brewers podcast. My name is John Holzer, and as always, I'm joined by
Jason Harris,
Greg Nagel,
Joe Senegalia.
This week, we are kicking off our series called The Style Pile, which was named by Greg himself.
I'm going to step in a steaming pile of style today.
Private pile.
A steaming pile of style. There you go.
That's right.
Appropriately, since Greg came up with this idea, he wanted to do the Kolsch style of ale first. So that's what we're doing. And looking forward to it. It's Sunday. We had a kind of a rager of a day yesterday out in Orange County. All four of us and our significant others were all hanging out.
4 out of 4 duders would recommend.
Yeah, it was really fun. We all took the train out, which is something I rarely do because thinking about train lines makes me anxious because I'm afraid I'm always going to get lost and then end up in a completely different city.
You're like in LA. You're like, where's John at? I don't know.
We got on the train and it's the Orange or Inland Empire to Orange. I don't know, something Orange County.
You had to make a transfer, right?
No.
Oh, okay.
But we got on and it said, said the station we were at, and then it said to Oceanside, and I'm like, we're not going to Oceanside. Like, what is this? And and everyone's just sitting down. I'm like, this says it's going to Oceanside, and Jason's like, yeah, it's going to Oceanside. I'm like, but we're not going to Oceanside. It's like,
with other stops on the way.
It's Oceanside. I'm like, oh
yeah, we stop in the middle.
John's like, I get on the 5 South and it goes San Diego.
You don't get
We're
off.
not going to San Diego.
That's exactly what it was.
I don't want to go to San Diego.
We actually got off at Orange and the Orange Metrolink stop. It's right by Chapman Crafted. And while we were getting off, Evan Price and Brian Rouso from Green Cheek were getting on to go where? To Oceanside.
Small world.
So I learned. But yeah, so that's why I never take the train. After this last trip, me and Jason went out to Orange County like a year ago. And Jason's way more familiar with this setup than I am. I feel a little bit more comfortable now. I just need like a physical map to hold and look at so I know where I'm looking at all the stops.
The OC trains are confusing because there's one train that goes from Oceanside to LA. There's one that goes from like Riverside through Orange County to LA. And then there's one that goes from Riverside to Orange County and then turns around and goes back down to Oceanside.
Yeah.
Which is the one we took. But like
the horseshoe one, right?
Yeah, those 3 different trains all cross over in kind of weird ways. And it's like one will get you to Santa Ana, but not Orange, and the other one will get you to Orange, but not Santa Ana. It's kind of a pain in the ass.
Yeah, there's a line that goes from Paris to Riverside and wherever else it goes. But the transfer's at downtown Riverside. And I think they have one at La Sierra as well. And if I was brave, I would have taken that up to meet you guys, but I wasn't feeling brave enough. So we drove all the way to downtown. Yeah.
Next time, hop on a Greyhound and bring some beer on board. And I'm sure you'll break down somewhere around Corona, and then you can stop around. You can have a bite at Del Taco while you're waiting in some weird parking lot.
Greyhound or like a bus?
I'm saying hop on the old bus, dude. That's the way to really travel.
I'm not getting on a bus.
That's the way to experience. That's how you experience America.
Greg,
that's how we could efficiently use the Patreon money. Well, listen, guys, we're taking a Greyhound.
Real quick, speaking of Greyhound, we did an arcade tournament one time in the middle of where were we? We were in Idaho, and there was a dude who came and he took a Greyhound bus from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania to Boise, which was like a 24-hour bus ride to get out there.
Hopefully he's immunized.
This was back in like 2015, I think, and we were like, dude, what was that like? And he was like, it was a fart-laced bus.
Oh, no.
That's all he said. 27 hours on the Greyhound bus. That's insane.
I mean, you didn't have to drive, so that's a bonus.
But like, could we have like GoFunded me you like a plane ticket? Like, come on.
Yeah,
right.
Exist unless you're afraid of getting on a plane. I could see
wild, dude.
Bus would be the option. That's like Travis Barker taking a boat to go to fucking Europe, like because he was so afraid to go on planes since he almost died in a fucking plane crash.
A boat? Gotta be more fucking scared of a boat.
Dude, he almost died in a
Yeah,
plane
but
crash.
that dude almost got burned
Well,
to
yeah,
death in a
that's
plane
true.
crash.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
he's-
your odds then. So once you have survived that, your odds of another plane crash pretty slim.
or you know that God has decided that this is specifically how he hates you and wants to kill you. So
Saying about lightning striking in the same place, you
Yeah.
know, come on, Trey
God
Parker.
did the same thing. Isn't that how the Madden Cruiser became a thing? Because he was in a plane or a plane
Totally.
crash. Yeah.
I just thought that was some boomer shit.
No, I think that's why he did it.
Like the last two helicopter accidents, Kobe and the dude from Iran, I think they were all because of inclement weather and low visibility. And I'm like,
Yeah,
why
fog.
the fuck you get in a helicopter? Like, I get it, you have instrumentation.
He's
and
like, we'll be
stuff, but-
fine.
But no, don't do that. Like,
Wild.
just drive or don't go that day. Like,
Dude, I don't
no.
even like driving when it's super foggy. Like, there's no way I'm getting in a fucking helicopter.
When it's like 10 feet of visibility, that shit sucks.
Yeah, it's
I
gnarly.
bet you they've done that same conditions like 20 times before, though.
Probably.
It's fine. You know, it wasn't like, oh, this is the first time we've ever had weather. It was like, nah, that was just the first time that they died.
I fucking watched La Bamba as a young child, and I was like, no small planes for me ever in bad weather. It's just not happening.
I thought you said Mamba, and I was like, oh, wow, as a
La
child.
Bamba.
Mhm.
I was like, how does that math work? Well, actually, kind of.
So we're starting with a beer that was actually our first stop of the day yesterday when we went out to Orange County. It's a beer from Everywhere, and this is their Everyone Kolsch Ale.
Everywhere
And,
should be your first stop if you go to Orange County, listeners out there.
Dude, that place
Absolutely.
is awesome.
Not only are they easily to access, I think they open at 11 a.m. daily. So even on holidays, they're open the 4th of July, 11 a.m. So if
Nice.
you're wondering where to go, that's the spot. You don't have to look at the calendar, their website. They're going to be open.
And it's a lot nicer of, I think it could be just the same like industrial park tap room that anybody has, but they did a really nice job of decorating it, making it feel kind of homey and nice. And like,
It's super cool.
It's a cool vibe and awesome people. So,
And Jason introduced me to some black licorice tasting, whatever that was. What was that we drank?
Underberg.
Underberg. Joe had never had Underberg.
Never had
That's
it.
crazy. He's never had Underberg.
Charge it to the Underhills.
There was a beer fest I went to twice in Seattle it was a barley wine fest, and it was called Hard Liver. And it was 100
What a great
They're
name
not
for a
lying.
beer fest.
150 barley wines. And like the first time I went was with Dr. Bill, and he was a judge.
Jeez.
And we got to watch them all basically. I don't know. I love Bill, but sometimes he's a little full of shit. And he was judging some of the beers, and people were just giving him shit. And it was very fun to watch. But after you drink 150 beers, you drink Underberg as your
Underberg.
to wash it all down. So
Like,
whenever
why
we-
is that? Why is that a thing at that brewery?
Did-
It's just something they have.
It's a
No, like
beer
it's
thing.
everywhere. Yeah.
Oh.
Like you go to any old school beer bar, they have Underberg. Like anywhere that has like metal signs with Le Chouffe on the fucking wall probably has Underberg. Like
No doubt. Dude, Windsor has them, and they have like a belt buckle, like for bartenders to sling them out. I think that, dude, I want to have one of those. It's like a bartender, like full like lederhosen style leather.
But then they
hardcore.
were saying
And
like they keep the tops of them, right? Like it's a thing. to keep
yeah,
those
the
in collection.
bars can save up and collect the tops and they get like bar prizes. Like
That's fucking
they'll
awesome.
get like, oh, these special like super thin fancy glasses to serve them in, or like they get different stuff they can put in there.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a whole thing. It's like old school beer culture stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's
had no
old
idea.
beer world shit for sure.
Yeah, dude.
All right.
So,
So yeah, like I said, we are drinking Everyone from Everywhere. This is 4.8% AB. Oh, I'm sorry, that's the wrong beer. No, it's the same. Okay, 4.8% ABV, and they don't list the IBU, but that doesn't matter. I'm just pulling stuff off of Untapped.
yeah, dude.
And they don't give any info on the beer unless it's on the back of the can, and I didn't see it. But
Oh, I should have got my little Kolsch cup. I got that one I got last time I was at
Oh,
Everywhere.
you don't have your little stange? Your
Dude, I'm
Stanger?
bummed. I forgot to buy glassware from there when I was there yesterday. Gosh.
I bought it. I have this glass, but then I looked at it and it's like super dirty, so I'm not gonna use it.
Beer B.
What's cool? What's rad about Kolsch is like everyone that I can find is generally around like 4.6 to 4.8. I don't think I've ever seen one outside of that range, especially like if you're in Germany, the ones are all like 4.7-ish, and they don't strafe too far from that.
Dude, that's my wheelhouse these days for ABV. I love that.
Oh, you can drink it all day
Yeah.
and be like, I feel great.
Mhm.
And one thing that I think I've mentioned this a few times on the show is how, especially if you put it in a stained glass, you can see how fine the bubbles are. It's such fine bubbles. It's not way over carbonated.
Yeah.
It's not a beer that's going to weigh you down as well. And I just love that about the style.
It's also a great beer to brew for like the first time as a home brewer. The yeast isn't that finicky. I think it's one of the first beers I ever did.
Is it like
everyone says-
unforgiving?
no, it's very forgiving.
That's what I meant. Sorry. Is it very forgiving?
Yeah, I was talking to
forgiving.
I was talking to Stefan at Stefan Weber, the brewer at Everywhere, and he was saying that they use Dieter, which is an imperial yeast. It's a German ale, I think, yeast. I'm not sure if
From
it's ale or
Imperial
lager.
Yeast Company.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not too familiar with imperial yeast, but Dieter is the one, and it's all Weirmann Pilsner and a little bit of Vienna, I think, is the other malt in there.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about Imperial. I think whenever I get back to homebrewing, I'm gonna try to get my hands on their stuff. They're like responsible for some of the best homebrew and maybe for pro level too. Hazy yeast out there. Like they're really good with experimenting with different strains and doing different blends and really
Yeah,
dialing shit
I think
in.
they really take care of the home brewer. I've not heard any complaints about people buying imperial yeast and being like, "Hey, it's not starting yet." You know,
I'm pretty sure they advertised like hell. Like they're all over Brewlosophy, that homebrew podcast.
Yep.
Where the first 2 minutes of the show is all ads. And great show. but
Kvake
God,
or
there's
Kvike.
there's so many ads on that show. It's very professionally done, but I'm like, God, give it a little bit of a rest.
just break it. Yeah, exactly.
So
Yeah, there's something really special about their beer in particular, as far as everyone is concerned. The beer name, not everyone in general. But there's a brewery in Cologne, which is where the appellation of Kolsch comes from, called Brewery Pefkin. And it's sort of like the brewer's favorite spot to stop anytime you're in Cologne. And for some reason, like, I don't think Stefan's ever been there, but he nails the style so perfectly. It's almost identical to drinking a beer there. It's lightly carbonated. It's got like a little kiss of fruitiness on the finish. It's not over the top. It's just so drinkable. It's something magical about a beer that you could just drink and drink and drink and not think about it. And I think they've nailed it.
Mhm.
yeah, I agree. It's very light bodied. Again, like you said, the carbonation, super fine bubbles, so it's not really gonna burn in your throat while you're drinking it. Because I think this is a style that is usually pretty low carb anyway. So if it's
Yeah, you'll
supposed to be
see-
low carb, you want to have a finer bubble because those bigger bubbles, if it's a lower carbonation density, will tend to come out of solution faster.
Yeah, we went to a bunch of Kolsch breweries in Cologne, and that's pretty much the MO for a lot of them. On tap or on Foss, as they say, where they hammer the thing in the barrel. Generally, you're going to have this like lighter carbonation, which is great. But the ones that package their beer, it's a whole different story, as we'll see later on in the show with the Reisdorf. I think that's generally like it's got the big bubbles and not as fine as this one.
Now, Greg, as the expert, do you want to explain Kolsch service?
Kolsch service, yes. So going back in the city, so every brewery, there's I think around 20 to 25 Kolsch breweries in Cologne. So it's got its own appellation. If you look at the Reisdorf can that we have, there's actually a little star sticker on it, sort of like how Trappist breweries have the little insignia on it. And it's got each brewery has their, like, that's the only beer you can get on tap, right? So, and you sit down and they go, beer, and you go, yes, and they'll throw a coaster down at your table.
It's the one place in the world where beer is like in the movies, where the guy just sits down and just goes, "I'll order a beer, please," and they
totally
bring it.
Yeah. And then he'll walk around with this like circular device that has, it's maybe got like 10 beers or 12 beers around in a circle with a handle on top. And all they do is pull the tap open and sort of spin the thing around to fill up each glass. And they'll just walk around. If you see somebody that has an empty glass, he'll walk over, put a little notch on the coaster, and deliver Kolsch glasses to you. It's as easy as that. And once you're done, you just throw the coaster on top, and he'll go over and close you out.
Man,
and
I want to
that's
experience
amazing.
that. Yeah, I want to do that.
Everywhere actually was doing it when we were there, except for they would just refill your glass, and they gave you like, it was like you paid a little extra and you got the glass to keep. It's hard to see because it's reflective and it's picking up everything, but it's a gold like everywhere logo on there.
That's super cool.
But yeah, they when they had the Kolschon the last time me and Greg were there, they were just mark your coaster and keep refilling it, which was really
That's
fun.
so great. Yeah, I got my Prost glass here from Green Cheek doing the same thing, and yeah, it's super fun. I don't know if it works so good at a brewery that has like, I don't know, 10 different beers on style. That sort of slows down the Kolsch service a little bit when they're like, oh yeah, I forgot about the guy at the Kolsch outside or whatever.
Right.
But
The cool
yeah, what do you
thing
guys
about
think of?
It's like an automatic thing that they check on you to see if you're low and then bring you another one automatically. Kind of
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
What do you guys think of this beer?
It is definitely a liter beer for sure. Like it is crush a liter of it. It's a crush a 2 liter of it. It's so fucking drinkable.
It is.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. And this is like on the older side too. This was like I'm surprised that they still haven't made a third batch, but this is maybe got a couple of months on it, and it's still just as crushable and
Great.
delicious.
I was gonna say, I mean, admittedly, I have not drank a lot of Kolsch in my life, but as someone having that, I'm trying to figure out how to word this correctly. Sometimes when you drink certain lagers, they can be sweet, and this you take a sip of it, and it's got that awesome flavor without getting sweet on the finish, and I love that. I was waiting for it to get sweet for some reason, and it doesn't feel sweet to me.
I feel like Kolsch really fits the, people call beer like liquid bread, like your dad will call beer liquid bread.
Yeah.
Like I feel like Kolsch is the most liquid bread of the beer styles. It really does.
But it's not like overly like crazy brown, like toasty bread, like sometimes you can get.
It's not
just
like
it's
toasty.
it's bready. It's good. It's
Yeah, when
great.
you say lagers that taste sweet and it's kind of overwhelming, I just
Like
I have
Helles.
to think of a Japanese lager that was
Dude.
made with the puffed rice, jasmine rice, from Harland out of San Diego, and it's a good beer. But I took my first sip from a glass, and it was like my first beer of the day, and it was just strikingly sweet. And it's not a detriment to the beer. It was just like I was not feeling it that day, and I was just like, man, that is just. And I finished it, but it was just like a lot. It felt
It's
like
funny that you say Japanese lager because we stopped at a Thai place last night on the way home for dinner, and the only beer they had was Sapporo, and I'm like, well, I want another beer while I'm going to have my dinner.
Super dry.
Yeah, and so I got it. I don't know when the last time I had that was, but it was like drinking apple juice, dude. It was so sweet.
Yeah, right.
Awful.
It's about acetaldehyde from Stone.
It was wild, dude. I don't remember it being like that.
I'm sure it's to style. It's and it is what it is. But again, for me that day, and I buy that beer all the time from Harland. It's just that particular day, it was just too much. And this is not like that. It's got a little bit of that sweetness up front and like a bitterness that lingers a little bit, but like it's all very cohesive and nothing.
No, it's super
overwhelming.
good.
Oh, we have moms in the chat.
Oh, my mom's here.
What's up, Mom?
Hi, Mom.
My mom used to come on sometimes. That was weird.
Dude, I'm telling you, my mom had a blast hanging out with you guys at Green Cheek for the anniversary.
If my mom shows up, I'm out.
She's like, hello, Jason. Jason just runs away.
I'm just like,
We'll know what happened.
I'm like, nope.
I think we should move on to beer from a brewery that we haven't had before, at least as far as I know, from Heirloom Rustic Ales. They're out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. And apparently,
this has got to be
Scott Windsor. Greg, you said he's from Oklahoma?
Yeah. So
From the area?
yeah, he was like in a band for a long time called the Umbrellas, and they lived in Oklahoma, and then he moved to Orange County, of all places, to start a homebrew shop.
Which, by the way, Greg took me there yesterday, and that place is awesome too. What a freaking beer list they have!
Oh my god, it's insane.
Unreal.
Yeah, we had a little mix-up yesterday. Jason
We got
wasn't
split.
privy to any of the conversation, but Greg and Joe and everyone else ended up at Bottle
Windsor
Logic
Homebrew.
in Windsor,
Yeah.
and then we went to Radiant.
We never made it to Bottle Logic. We just went to Windsor Homebrew. I was drinking barrel-aged, what is it, Little Twin Stars or whatever. I'm like, you have this on tap? I will have
From
that.
Monkish,
I never,
just
like-
casual.
Yeah.
Monkish barrel stuff on tap.
I don't have beef with Bottle Logic, but I look over there and I see like the patio like overflowing, like people practically fucking hanging off the rafters, and I'm like, that looks really fucking busy. And then like across the street, I can just go to Windsor, and I'm like, I'm just gonna go do that, and I never end up going to Bottle Logic.
Dude, but between the tap list and then all the beers in the cooler and the bottles, oh man, it's insane.
Bottle Logic's just always got so many people, so I figure they can take the hit. They got the business.
Yeah, they're always busy.
Yeah, so this beer, what's the name of the beer, by the way? It's like Cavern Hymn, and it's 4.7%, and that's all it says. Heirloom rustic ales. Never had them
This
before.
can looks like fucking Salad Fingers made it. All right, if anyone on fucking thing gets that at me.
Salad Fingers?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Salad Fingers
it's like Heirloom rustic ales brings you the Cavern Hymn.
So John was talking about the everywhere Kolsch being a little sweet on the front of your palate.
We're not
This
going
one
to get
doesn't.
that retweet now. Sorry.
This beer doesn't taste as sweet as the last one. Not that the last one was sweet, but it tastes less sweet. Again, to my amateur
You
Kolsch
are
palate.
correct. Yeah, got heavier bubbles too, like chunkier bubbles. I think.
Yeah,
It's not
mine's
as
super low
sparkling.
carb. Yeah, mine looks about the same. It's in that like 1 or 2 SRM range, and it's kind of a little bit cloudy too. I can't get the focus, sorry, but
Yeah, it's
it's
got
got
a bit
that
of
same
a
unique head.
bit of an unfiltered look to it. I wouldn't call it a haze. More of
I mean, any brewery with a rustic in the names, I would assume like there's going to be a little bit of a haze to the beer, which is I don't know.
By the way, Greg, Kyle asked because you and Jason have the same shaped glass for your Kolsch. He said, "Is there a reason why the glass is that shape?" I'm wondering too.
Yeah, so but in Cologne, Germany, like there's a the people that regulate Kolsch in the city, it's like a Kolsch Brewers Guild sort of situation, and they designate that it has to be 0.2 liter glasses, and this is like the perfect 0.2 liter glass.
Oh wow.
And also I think it suits the style well. It really shows off how gold the beer is, and also the carbonation. It's sort of like a looking glass to the beer, and also it's the perfect, like you can one tap these beers. You can just like woof them and get another one right away. But I think it, like, your beer's never going to get warm.
I just
think
realized
that's
with
the beauty of
Kolsch
it.
service, it's like, you know, in movies when they're at those parties, like I've never been to one of these parties in real life, but like where there's always like someone walking around with like a tray full of like champagne, and like people can just like grab the glasses and drink them, and then they're like, oh no, I've got to go talk to my boss. So they like grab a champagne and fucking slam it down or whatever.
Exactly.
Like, yeah, you kind of could do that with these.
the glass also is it's similar to like a Pilsner glass. It's like a mini Pilsner glass, right? Where a Pilsner glass, they're usually straight, or they're got a little, or very gradual taper going on. And that, according to what I've been told by Dr. Bill, that's also an aromatic thing. It's kind of like the same reason a tulip glass will kind of get smaller at the top. It's to kind of focus everything to your nose. So
and yeah, I think also the skinny width of the glass also helps with the head retention. Like I've never seen like a head completely go away on a Kolsch ever. Like you're always going to have like a little, just a little bit hanging around. Like the thicker the glass, the thinner it is. Like it helps with the stability of head retention. I think it's really nice.
So this beer, Joe mentioned that it's less sweet on the front end than the beer from everywhere, and I agree. This also comes off more. Okay, I don't want to say this in a bad way. It's a lot more neutral. It seems like, as far as flavor wise, it's everything's just kind of dialed back compared to the first beer.
What I'm getting more hop bite on
kind of thing happening with it too.
Sorry, yeah. I'm getting more hop character on it. I feel like it hangs a little bitter on the palate, where the other beer didn't really have a discernible hop character that I could get. And so I think that's making that might be because it's what Tettnanger hops is what they're saying it is. Yeah,
usually Tettnang,
100% Tettnanger.
That's pretty historical and traditional.
There was not a discernible hop character to the everywhere beer, which I mean, to me, is appropriate for Kolsch. I haven't brewed one for fucking BJCP guidelines in a while, but there's not usually much hop character.
It's gonna have some bitterness, but generally not. You're not gonna be like there's Saaz in there or some major hop that's gonna overtake it. It's sort of it's like a balance of because they are ales and they are fermented a little bit warmer. You are gonna get some sort of a little bit ester character, sometimes strawberry. This one's more on like the melon floral side, I think. But not something you're like, wow, this is like a huge fruit bomb or anything like that. It's very, very subtle and extremely drinkable as well.
I wonder too if the sweetness of the other one kind of tricks your brain into not really tasting as much of the bitterness as you're tasting in this one. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not sure.
Also, let's read what it's supposed to taste like. This beer reminds us of existing only in petrichor and watching the honeysuckle reach
Petrichor,
to
there
the
we go.
sky,
All right.
and the morning glory crawl to the sea, the last wild stream overwhelmed with alpine snow melt.
That reminds me of
That's actually some pretty good writing there.
the
Anytime somebody throws in petrichor, I'm like, okay, you got me.
Jason, the way you read that reminds me of the SNL skit when Will Ferrell would be in the hot tubs at different places with his
Hot
wife.
tub.
Hot tub.
The hot tub.
Petrichor, earthy smell when rain falls on dry soil.
Yeah.
So,
That it's that
so I guess
smell.
I could say that I'm getting petrichor from this beer because I said it had an earthiness to it. And,
Damp earth.
Yeah.
I'm
there
smelling
you go.
manticore myself, but
Reference not acknowledged.
Yeah,
I do my jokes for two people out there on the internet.
I know. Yeah.
They're like, well done, Jason. Well done. A little bit of trumpet vine. I don't know if you've ever smelled those plants before, but when they're like at night when they bloom, holy shit, it's like the most pungent thing in the world. But
I've never
like
heard of those.
it's
Let
like
me
trumpet
off the table.
vine during the day when they're not blooming.
I just heard Trump
good.
at first. I'm like, why is Greg bringing up Trump?
It
Trumpet
smells like
vine.
Trump.
Are they orange?
Smells
Oh,
like
dude,
Trump
those
hair.
kind of Greg. Those kind of look like in Willy Wonka when he drinks the thing out
Don't
of the flower
they?
and then eats
Yeah,
it.
yeah, totally. Yeah, trumpet
That's
vines
funny.
are intense.
A little flower cup?
Yeah, remember how he eats it and then he
Yeah.
drinks it and then eats it? Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what
okay.
that reminds
Yeah,
me of.
those things like drip nectar too, so they're pretty interesting.
Oh, that sounds like a nightmare.
Chat
beer.
saying Greg knows more smells than the average bear.
I'm 53. I've smelled things in my life.
I've smelled the
you
thing
guys
or
have-
two in my day.
You guys have never smelled things that I've smelled.
You
Greg
young
just
bucks
smelled
ain't
some shit.
smelled what I smelled. Greg smelled the 70s, and we never got to smell that.
Where I'm like, sometimes I'm like, this beer has like notes of 70s Band-Aid, and you guys are like, I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. And like somebody else hears it, they're like, I know exactly what that smell is. 70s Band-Aids.
This
Our
smells like when
70s
you used to be able to
Band-Aids
get
different.
Quaaludes.
Our 70s band-aids different from modern band-aids.
They're like they're like made out of weird vinyl. I don't know.
Okay.
Vinyl.
Maybe the glue had a different smell, like the adhesive that they put on there.
Yeah.
It was probably a lot more toxic.
Yeah.
Today's equivalent, I would think, would smell like a surf shop. Somebody that's shaping boards with resin. It's more along those lines.
I never smelled a surf shop.
Okay. Maybe you got to go sniffing.
I gotta get
Gotta get that nose out there.
Knife. Man,
You got to
oh my
go get
God.
out there and start sniffing some shit.
Art salmon.
Tanner asked what they made Band-Aids from in the 70s, and if my boomer parents are any indication, just rub some dirt on it.
Spit and dirt.
Bactine and dirt.
Just rub some dirt on it and some iodine.
Fucking iodine.
And have
Your
your, mom
whole leg's
kiss it.
orange forever.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah. What's that other pink shit you would get when you had like chicken pox or whatever?
Oh, dude.
No, what is that?
Calamine lotion.
Is it? No, I think it's something else.
Oh, you're
Oh,
talking
yeah.
about the itching stuff. I thought you were
Well,
talking about
calamine.
like, the pink.
Dude,
Calamine
the
lotion.
The pink medicine, you would hope to get sick. You're like, take me to the doctor. I need some of that pink medicine. That shit
Pepto?
was the
Yeah.
best.
not
The
Pepto.
like bubblegum flavored
Yes, that was the
like
best medicine ever.
kids candy medicine that they would give you like in a little thingy.
Yeah.
That shit was good. Yeah, I
That was
remember
great.
you'd look forward to that.
Let me get sick. I need to go to the doctor.
I guess I got an ear infection
Oh my
again.
God. I'm surprised breweries like Rogue haven't made like a Pepto Bismol like stout or something like that.
They basically did. They just didn't intend to.
Yeah, fuck road.
This beer is helping my gut.
Were they the ones that they did the siracha one, right? That had the red
Yeah.
bars,
Yeah,
That
the
was a hot
Pepto
mess.
labels, the Voodoo Donuts bacon
That's
bullshit
right,
fucking
yeah.
thing.
They were never good either. They were just a bottle gimmick. That's it. They were labeled hype.
Yep. So going back to the history of Kolsch, what year do you guys think the style was sort of founded?
Like
Just to-
1350.
I hope it's something like
Alright.
844.
Dude, you're so close. It's like
Seriously?
890. Yeah, it's like 890 AD.
Oh wow.
I figured I was
Yeah.
going too old if I went that. I was like, I'm not going back to the year like 1000.
Yeah, and
Wow,
then
890?
yeah, but it wasn't like a light Kolsch like it was today. Obviously, Germans didn't figure out indirect kilning until like the late 1800s with the invention of the Pilsner from Bohemia. And they're like, oh, we don't have to throw all our shit on the floor and malt it like the Schlenkerla beers still have that like smoky dark deliciousness. Those were
Yeah.
like directly kilned.
It is really taken for granted that lighter beer that was lighter or sparkling was like truly a technological marvel in the 19th century.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
a lot of
18 late
technological
1800s.
innovation had to happen, like in agriculture, in how they malted the grain, in how they actually processed it. Like
Yeah.
actually like light this like crystal clear like sparkling beer was very much a technological innovation in the 19th century, which is wild. to
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, all beers were sort of dark before that because they just didn't know how to malt grains without putting, it's sort of like I don't know if you guys smoke your own meats or whatever, but there's like an indirect heat source where you put all your wood in this thing on the side and then you put your meat over on the other side, and that's what sort of like cooks your meat and gets that flow of air. Essentially, it's like drying your clothes. You have that like heat source that sort of your
Right,
stuff is
right.
on the inside. It's not going to get propane on your clothes.
Yeah, you don't want to apply fire to your clothing to dry it. That would be bad.
It's just pretty wild to think about. And like you said, 800, whatever it was. Like, what do you think those first batches of beer were like? Could you imagine?
I mean,
Like,
yeah,
let's try
right?
this. Fuck. It had to have been gnarly.
I just imagine anytime I think of like, let's go back to the olden times, even like 200 years ago, the smell, man, just it's gotta stink everywhere all the time. Like they had no plumbing, no sewage,
nothing.
like in a lot of
Yeah.
places, like shit just stank.
It stank.
There's no showers.
Yeah, nobody
Deep
could
thoughts
bathe
with this
hardly.
man.
There's a bath.
People must have stank. Yeah.
That should be
I'd be
gnarly.
like, it's
Motherfuckers
raining
are wearing
outside.
like petticoats and shit, and they've been sweating all day, and
Oh,
then
Yeah, dude.
and then you're trying to get it down like it's Bridgerton, and it's like, can you imagine how
Oh,
everything
could you
must,
imagine? Yeah.
how ripe it must be under there?
Everybody talks about 70s pubes, but 1800s pubes must have been.
That's it. That's
fucking
how
like-
you know that. That's how you know the dudes just don't give a shit when it comes to that. They're
They're
like,
just
"Fuck it, it
dragging
doesn't
on the
matter."
floor.
There's
Like,
a
oh,
full
this is my,
on.
this is my
it's
pubes
actually-
down by my boots.
It's a
We're
full
getting after
hedge maze that you have to navigate through.
It's a corn maze.
and men had no problem doing it.
Just to go pee, you're like, where is it? There it is.
You had 3 months to think about it because you fucking met them by writing a letter.
I mean, I've played Red Dead, so very similar.
Had to grind brushing horses for 3 days in real life.
Yeah, exactly. So we just poured some Heater Allen. Speaking of,
Yeah, up next, we're drinking a beer from favorite of the show, Heater Allen. This is Das Beer, 5% ABV, 25 IBU, and it's probably going to be fantastic, like everything Heater Allen makes.
Never had a beer from them before. First time.
Are you kidding?
Not
Wow.
kidding.
wow,
John, you got to
blowing some minds
remember,
today.
my entire life of drinking beer has mainly been hoppy beer and dark beer.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
Heater Allen's all lagers.
They do a hef. I think
I
some. Yeah, I think they do a
Kolsch is kind
Dunkelweizen
of
too.
a halfway.
Let me
right?
look at my Untapped and see if
Correct.
I've ever had a Heater Allen beer.
I think hef is lager adjacent in the grand scheme of things, even though it's clearly an ale and tastes like an ale. I can see
Yeah.
why you might be a lager only brewery, but then be like, yeah, maybe we'll make a hef too.
We are a small lager brewery that specializes in producing distinctive all malt German and Czech style beers. So there you go.
Oh,
And they do a fantastic job, not only just making beers, but like they nail the styles like completely to the T. Like
This beer's
there's a few
fucking
breweries
good.
that do that. Like Integrin, I think, Heater Allen. God, who else is like nailing German styles really well? It used to be Taps, but Rip Taps.
Wayfinder is not super traditional. They do good lager, but they're not really. No, I'm
pretty
like
much
there is
Integrin and
one
Heater
we're
Allen.
missing. Yeah. But it's funny to think about, and I think this kind of brewery is becoming a lot more rare these days. The very traditional brewery, and it turns out it's actually really hard to make traditional styles at a really, really well. And the bar I think is pretty high because they're competing with brands that have made that style for 300 fucking years, right? So
yeah, and Heater Allen's not in a huge city. They're not in Portland or whatever. They're like in a sort of podunk farm town called McMinnville.
McMinnville, yeah.
Is it a college town or no? I could be wrong, but I think they're out in the middle of nowhere. It's sort of in a farm actually, with a barn that they brew out of.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure what that town is about, but it is small.
This beer's great. Holy smokes.
Oh, this is like right up my alley.
It's
got that brightness that the other two so far have lacked.
Also multi-liter, Jason. Wow.
A little bit more pronounced carbonation than the other two as well.
It's a bit drier to me. The malt isn't as present as the last two beers, which actually makes it like where like inadvertently I like just took one drink and drank this whole little glass. Like I was like,
the beauty of Kolsch.
Shit, this is drinkable.
No, yeah, this is definitely the most crushable one of the bunch so far.
Yeah, this is
just
awesome.
Super dry, very well carbonated. I think Jason said something about the malt. Like you don't get that heavy bread, not heavy. You don't get like a bready character like you did from like the Everywhere beer, where it was like liquid bread or whatever. It's very it's like super easy drinking. Like
this one doesn't have a sweetness to it either, though.
No,
right? Yeah, it's super dry. On the back palate, I do get a kiss of like Concord grapes, like almost grapeish, like grapey. I'm not going to say it's going to grape me in the mouth, but it's got just a kiss of every Kolsch has a little bit of fruit character to them, and it's so subtle, but there is a slight grape character that I get from this.
And like I said, it's that ester character you get from the higher fermentation temps.
Not retronasal. It's not an aroma. It's when you swallow it and you're breathing out, you get some like grapey character to it. Like
I could see that now that you're planting that into my palate, like something I should taste. I kind of get that. Like
what's funny is I generally get that from Belgian Pilsner malt, but obviously I don't think they're using Belgian Pilsner malt in this. This is probably all Weyermann. I think they probably have a silo of Weyermann Pilsner malt at Heater Allen, and that's all they use.
They say they try to stay as close as possible to what traditional Kolsch is supposed to taste like, but it's their interpretation.
Weyermann Pilsner, and then maybe a little bit of grapiness from whatever heirloom Vienna malt that they're using.
Yeah, this is Pilsner and Kolsch malts.
Kolsch malts.
Hopped with Sterling and something else.
Sterling, baby.
My can is smudged, so I can't see what the other thing is.
Oh, it actually says on the can. I was sitting here looking on the internet like a fucking.
Oh, there you go. Das Bier.
My can's a little smudged.
Oh yeah, hopped with Sterling and Hersbrucker. Which is interesting. You mentioned Tettnanger was pretty
ubiquitous with the style,
pretty like traditional, and breaking from it with these, the hop character is definitely a lot less pronounced, and maybe I wonder if it's an interesting thing because you're like, is that a deliberate play towards like an American palate? Although if you're a craft brewery in Oregon, an American palate probably wants fucking 60 IBUs
Citra.
of fucking Galaxy in there, right?
No more Galaxy hops.
Yeah, this beer, as far as the clarity too, compared to the last one from Heirloom, super clear.
Super clear.
They say it's unfiltered and has extended lagering, so that would explain why it's super clear. Like It's when they say it's extended, like the lagering is extended, they're telling the truth because it is crystal clear. And it is, I mean, that's great. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Generally, when you're making a Kolsch, you would start fermentation probably around the like 50s to 60s is what I think a lot of breweries are doing these days, and then after primary fermentation, dropping down to lager temp like the 29.
The last one, the Cavern Hymn, said it was fermented ice cold on their website.
Yeah, 29 probably. Speaking of yesterday, the amazing bar that we went to called the Salty Dog, they have the temperature of their keg cooler like in LCD. That's like a live version of the
No,
temperature.
that was for something else. That was
No, it's the Coors Light cooler thing. Yeah,
it's the Coors Light cooler, man. It was
Yeah,
like
they-
see that.
29.2 to 29.5.
no.
and
It wasn't
jumped
Coors
down.
Light either. It was some other thing. I forgot what it was though, but it was like a liquor or something.
Oh, was it for Fireball then?
I
Because
don't wanna
all
say it
the
was
Jaeger
Jaeger.
machines, like, if it's the same company that owns Jaeger and Fireball, that's brilliant. Because it feels like every bar in the last 10 years took a Jaeger machine and pulled the sticker off and put a Fireball sticker on it, and they're like, "Yeah, we got Fireball in here now."
Yeah, I can't say I don't remember because there was other things on my mind at that bar. But yeah,
I blew John's mind at this bar. There was
if they
an
get-
interesting crowd.
if they get beer at 29 degrees, like it's gonna slowly freeze. I know there's alcohol in beer, so it's gonna resist freezing below 32.
All
But
right, yeah.
29, that's not gonna work. Like it's
29.
gonna
That walk in is gonna make for some nipple moments.
no.
And
Well-
the bartenders there already have nipple moments. So
Well,
it's
she
like,
was very
It was
nice. Like,
Greg-
she did a really good job.
they're
Yeah, I had actually
Brewers
no
are amazing.
complaints with the bar. I mean, it was a dive bar, but like
It was
the
the
food was
clientele.
fine. Yeah, it was just a bunch of
it was good. Yeah.
old OC white dudes. But
MAGA assholes. I'll say it.
There's one guy.
Well, he was at the table and they were all staring me down when I walked out the door with my rainbow
you
shoes.
knew
so-
John was gonna make a thing.
You brought it up. I wasn't gonna bring it up, but if you're gonna bring it up, fuck those guys. I got a platform.
We all got along.
Anyway,
That's amazing.
yeah, it's not what I expected Greg to take us to on our Joe's.
It was a wild card, and I'm glad we did.
No, it was fine. Yeah, their garlic fries were excellent.
The I forget they called them like loaded tater tots. They had some sort of like marinara on them and fucking like
Was that
pork.
good?
That shit was good.
That fucking looked good, dude.
It looked kind of terrible, but it was fucking great.
Aesthetically, it didn't look
really
great.
good bar food.
Yeah, no, it was fucking great. Like I think
Yeah.
it was literally they were just like, yeah, we're just gonna take the marinara that we serve, and then also put some like carnitas on here and some fucking cheese on your
Oh my
tots.
God,
I was
I'm
like,
so
dude,
hungry
this
now.
is so fucking good.
You want some tots?
That sounds
I
good.
want them tots.
That's killer. That burger I had was fucking great
Give me some
too.
The burger was bomb, yeah. Anyway,
Yeah. But
Well, I feel like we're moving on to the next beer, which is from Reisdorf.
Reisdorf.
And I have a feeling after drinking all of this fantastic American-made Kolsch that somehow we're going to be let down by a traditional Kolsch. I don't know.
Packaged Kolsch's are never great. So if you do find a good one that makes it across the sea, through a distributor, across a boat, into a homebrew shop,
into a homebrew shop.
This one
That,
definitely smells different. I think.
so there's a printing on the bottom of the can, but it's R33243D. Now,
Is that R2D2?
24 to me sounds like a year, maybe question mark, but like
Like
Uh,
March 3rd, 24?
no, I don't know.
I don't know.
So here's a big question. you just mentioned packaged Kolsch always sucking, but we just drank 3 that were pretty good.
Well, I mean,
So,
they're local. Said did they have to go on a boat or
Yeah.
the
Is
shipping
it
container
is it
somewhere?
the age? Is it how it's stored? Is it like
I think he's talking about Kolsch from
It's
overseas.
so it's a 4.5% beer, and it's got to travel a long ways, and it's gonna have to sit in a distribution warehouse. Whereas these local examples were pretty fresh, going directly from a brewery to, Scott Windsor. But yeah, my Reisdorf is pouring, 2 fingers ahead. It's no joke.
and I would assume
Looks very
if
similar.
Windsor got it, it's about as good a shape as we're gonna get this beer on this side of the country.
And
See,
it smells a
this
lot like
smells,
Everywhere's.
You think so? I don't have them side by side. I was going to say, since you're saying it smells like Everywhere's, Everywhere came off kind of on the sweeter side of things, and not that beer can smell sweet necessarily, but this has like that similar smell that I would get from like when I brought up the Japanese lager that I had. When you smell it, it's like, okay, I'm in for some
You can
kind of
smell sweetness.
Yeah,
you
you
can
can
smell
smell
like sourdough versus a donut. You're gonna be like, okay, so I can
Okay,
smell that.
yeah. I mean, but it's more of a flavor thing, but you see what I'm saying.
I do. So I use my Everywhere in one glass and the Reisdorf in another. And if I was blindfolded, there's no way I can tell them apart.
Okay, no, this is not as bad as I thought. This is actually really good.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay.
The flavor, absolutely, you can tell them apart.
This one seems a little bit it could be a little bit of palate fatigue too. It seems a bit breadier than the last one that we had. Like,
And the breadier is
like
a lot brighter. There's like a brighter.
Maybe that's
more
what it is. It's like it just seems breadier.
I think the fruitiness hits on the front palate on this one versus the other ones that hit on the back palate. So like right on the front, you're going to get some strawberry, sort of like strawberry preserve situation.
It's funny. I'm just drinking these going, I have no clue what I'm fucking smelling and tasting right now. It's fun.
I think the heater
right at the tip
was the most neutral of all of them, I think. I don't mean that in a negative way, because I thought, it makes it a super crushable beer. But coming from the Heater Allen, I think anything above that, as far as whether it's more, you get more of the malt character or more sweetness or, esters, it's going to come off like, oh, this is more than I thought it would be, because you just came from something that's super neutral, I think.
All right. So if I'm going to break down the 4 of these in comparison to each other, the Heater Allen, I do think, is our most kind of neutral, crushable version of this style. And then the Heirloom Rustic was I feel like that was the one that had the hop character in it that really was a bit hop forward as the style goes. Everywhere was all malt, where it was the liquid bread beer, and this is the yeast beer. This is the estery beer that has a lot of yeast character that you're not getting from the other ones. And so it's actually kind of fun. I know they're all very similar beers, but like, it's fun to pick these apart because the styles are very similar.
And style pile, dude.
But but it's cool seeing that they all kind of are hitting a different ingredient. Do we have a water one? Okay, the Heater Allen is the water one, I guess.
Well, referencing our past showdowns, like, because that's kind of what this is. It's like a mini version.
You hone in on things, right?
Especially when we'd have the beers, like, because when we do the showdowns, usually someone would be in the kitchen, usually Yvonne or Sarah or both of them, depending on who is available. And they would just bring them in blind, and then we'd have just stacks, of glasses, basically. Maybe not 30 each, but we'd eventually have some that were side by side. And so it was interesting to literally try them side by side and go and just see how different they were, even though they were labeled as the same style of beer. And
do you guys still have beer left in any of your cans?
Yes. I don't have any of the Everywhere. I have the rest of one.
I was gonna say re-pour some of the other ones, like especially go back to Everywhere now after the Reisdorf.
Okay.
And wow, there's like this pronounced hop character that sort of pops out.
There is. Well, it's a lot. Mine's a lot warmer though too, because it's sat out in my garage now. Yeah. So that hop flavor is definitely. Wow.
But that's what it's sort of like going around Germany and going to like there's 20-ish Kolsch breweries, and none of them taste identical.
Yeah.
So they're all sort of their house character, their yeast, whatever.
Jesus.
There's big differences.
Yeah.
And
When
so you go to
drink that
one, you're like,
everywhere
oh
beer,
man.
it comes off like, I don't know. This isn't derogatory. It comes off like an American Kolsch, the everywhere beer, you know, because
Right.
it's like amplified in every way, even though drinking it compared to anything else you might drink from everywhere, it's very subdued in every way. And even it being the first beer of the show, it came off like, yeah, okay, I get a little bit of this, and I'm not sure. Side by side, though, it's super bright with that like fruitiness.
Yeah,
Mhm.
amplified because of temperature. I think a little, I think all of mine were refrigerated between beers. So my everywhere is really popping out. And then I want to revisit the second beer that we had, which was the Cavern Hymn. And yeah, it's definitely like way more pronounced. So much more floral character pops out.
Man, that everywhere beer is super fruity now.
Right? Isn't it weird?
Yeah. And it's funny going back because you said like Americanized or whatever. Like as someone who like really wants super like, I don't know, hop forward, really fruity, intense tasting beers. Now that I'm drinking that one, I think I like it the best out of all of these. Just because
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, I didn't notice that in the beginning.
I mean, and because especially coming from you with, the majority of things you drink are IPA,
Mhm.
and same with me. So drinking everywhere's beer first, it was like, yeah, when this is
Yeah.
crushable, this is a liter beer.
It's
And
one
then
of my
drink-
favorite Kolsch's, honestly.
And I'm not trying to be insulting. I'm just saying, compared to the Reisdorf, and where it's even the Heater Allen has stuff popping off that I think, compared to the Reisdorf, wasn't.
So
And I didn't really notice before.
You guys, this is exactly what I wanted to do, a style sort of showdown, is to pick apart a style from different breweries from all around the world. I mean, we got Oregon, we got Oklahoma, we have Cologne, we have here local. You're gonna get totally different beers, just like in Cologne, like Gaffel or Fru, which is one of the biggest Kolsch breweries there. They're all so different. And like each local has their own favorite because they're like, I like this one because it's fruitier, I like this one because it's hoppier, I like this one because it's blah blah blah. So they're not all the same, just like these beers. It's such a weird style of beer.
The rad part about this is I'm going to drink way more Kolsch now because I want it.
And this appeals to me on the level of like, I mean, again, I'm someone who had a YouTube show where I picked apart light lager. Like, it's really fun trying very similar, very subtle styles and picking out small differences. Cause like, it's real easy if you're like, well, I'm trying a, Mosaic Pale Ale and a double IPA with fucking all C hops. And you're like, well, yeah, those are fucking very different beers. So
Right.
It's not that hard to figure that one out. It's funner to pick apart when they're getting more similar and more subtle.
Yeah. So on the Reisdorf can, there is an appellation of I think it's just a Euro appellation sticker that they can apply for, which is kind of cool. So it's like a real agriculture product from a region.
And Jason, going back to that, talking about like comparing beers that are very similar, when I started doing like the blind side by sides of light lagers on YouTube, people would watch those and be like, I can fucking tell, I know which one's which. I'm like, dude, when you don't know which one's which and you're drinking them side by side, it's way harder than you think it is.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not that different.
And it really does help. And I commend anybody listening, like, set it up where you have your roommate or your spouse or a good friend, like, give you 3 beers that you think you could tell apart that are kind of similar and try them blind and figure out which one's which. Like,
not only blind, but definitely take glassware that you can't see through. Is a huge, because there are some beers where suppose you're doing like Czech lager or something like that, and like you throw in Pilsner Urquell in there, and that beer definitely you can tell visually from other Pilsners. It's like it's a lot darker, and also you smell it and you're like, okay, yeah, that's like your brain really can give you a lot of contextual clues.
Well, it's like when you do sensory analysis at breweries, like for batches, you got a little window the beer comes through. It's in like a cup that's black, basically, so you can't see what it even is. You don't know what you're getting,
right?
And you just gotta smell it and taste it and break it down the best you can. And that's exactly why, because you don't want to go in there with any kind of prejudice towards the
Right.
whatever's being served.
Yeah, triangle test.
One thing I
It's-
think that is even better is like it's interesting because we do try to pick the beer a little bit on the show, I think, for fun value. But if you're actually trying to like just sort of expand your mindset when it comes to drinking beers or whatever, like don't try to pick your favorite one that you already thought was your favorite. The whole point is like challenging your perception, right?
Mhm.
And so like go in open and just be like, which one is like, what does this one taste like? What do I like? With no other input, which one do I like? And then compare that with reality and see like how much does your habit and the label and
Preconceived
familiarity,
notion. Yeah.
how much is that influencing what you like versus like how it tastes? And it helps you like shape how you look at stuff. I guess it's
Yeah.
a really fun activity. So
Some of the most fun beer stuff I ever did was like back in the hype, like 2016, 2017 days of like Trillium and Treehouse and these crazy hazy breweries. Like I'd have buddies come over that weren't like massive craft beer people, and I would pour them for them and not tell them what it is. And they would taste them like, I don't like this. It doesn't taste great. And I'm like, fuck, people are trading arms and legs for these things. And they'll automatically on Untapped rate them super high. But like someone who didn't know about the hype or knew about that brewery, they're like, it's all right. It's fine.
Well, yeah, and that's where the hype comes in. And talking to Ryan yesterday, Ryan Dick at Everywhere, we somehow started talking about like the brewery and the hype behind people who, I was one of them who bought every beer that they made, with the first, 6 or 7 years they were open. And what's that brewery, the 450 brewery that makes the milkshake beers?
Yeah, the slushy beers.
He's like, and we were like, I got to a point where I'm like, I can't drink these beers from the brewery anymore. It's just too much. It's like overwhelming, and they're expensive at the same time. 450 North, I think that's them.
Yeah.
Right.
And he brought them up, and he's like, how long is it going to take before he's like, no offense to 450 North, but they're basically making the same beers, but you see a different label. And you're like, I gotta buy that because it's got this label on it.
It's the new label, yeah.
And that's.
I feel like
you
the
get caught in
bottom
the hype loop.
The bottom seems to be falling out of all of those. I think like that scene has softened quite a bit, I would say.
It's much different, I think. Yeah, for sure.
Like other half takes the same beer and puts it in 45 different cans with different labels and is like, here you go. Like, I know they're not doing that. They actually are different beers, but like every brewery's hazy IPA tastes like every other hazy IPA that brewery makes. Like every monkish beer tastes like every monkish beer. Every other half, every treehouse tastes like every other treehouse. Like they all taste the same.
Which is part of the reason why.
Go ahead, Joe.
No, go ahead.
I kind of forgot what I was going to say. I think what you're saying. I think what you're saying, Jason, is like they don't literally taste the same, but they have like a house flavor and a house kind of vibe to them, right? I think that's what you're saying. Because I don't think monkish beers all the hazies taste the same.
Not the same, but no, they're all very much the same experience.
I think kind of in the vein, John, of like we always drink green cheek hazies, like it has that vanilla cake batter thing. Like that's a thing that's part of their hazy beers. Not all of them have that, but that's like a thing for them. But it made me realize when I was chasing hyped hazy beer and I would drink it and I'd be like, well, this is good, but it's not that much better than my local stuff. Like I don't need to chase beer anymore. I'm just going to drink the local hazy beer because it's fucking awesome.
Yeah, we've had that discussion many times, especially with triple IPAs. We're like, Pliny the Younger is great, and no disrespect to Russian River or whatever. Pliny the Younger is awesome, but like, you can get a really fantastic triple IPA from El Segundo or any local brewery is like just cranking out. Not cranking out, but
and your now hazy Pliny the Younger you were drinking.
Oh, totally. I think I put that on my Instagram the other day. Yeah, I had a hazy Pliny. That was weird.
I joked. I'm like, really? Oh, it's a chill haze. I thought it was just because it was cold. And you're like, no,
it was like that the whole time.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I think it was like a cap issue.
So I did just have a little bit more of the Reisdorf as it sat out for a while, and it's oxidized. Like I totally got oxidation off of it, and
100%.
I can't fucking figure out the date, but the best I can do, I think it's December. I'm
That'd
just
be about right.
yeah, that's just that's a theory.
It doesn't. I mean, honestly,
but it
it's
tastes
not
a
too
little
far
oxidized.
from what it actually tastes like. Yeah, whenever you're buying any sort of German beer in America, it's gonna have like some legs on it, right? Like it ran a long ways to get here.
I don't get any oxidation on it, but I mean, doesn't mean it's not
Mine's
there.
fine.
Yeah.
I feel like the Reinsdorf one is the driest of all of them, but maybe again, it's my palate just being. I just feel like when I take a sip of that again, like it is crazy dry on my tongue.
It's basically for me, how I said Heater Allen was the most neutral. No, this one's the most. The Reisdorf is like the it's a little more estery, I think, but beyond that, compared to the Heater Allen, it's yeah. That's why every beer I went back to, I could just easily pull out big time the different flavors that I was getting.
Right,
Even
yeah,
going
right.
back to the heirloom, that earthiness thing just popped so
Mhm.
much. And they're not sitting out. I've been going right back into the fridge. They maybe sat out for 5
Okay.
minutes each.
Cool.
So but
Lucky.
yeah, it's crazy that that's happening, and it's pretty cool.
The
I don't know
so-
what other style we could do this with, where we could
Czech lager,
yeah, I guess just the
Czech,
basics,
maybe.
yeah.
Czech
Something that
dark
we can
lager,
get.
Czech lager.
We'd have to get something that's like a traditional example.
Let's do
of
some
it.
hefts next. Let's
that'd be
let's
fun.
travel around Europe and
Honestly,
do some styles.
seeing the state of Hefeweizen in 2024, it's a weird style that had a huge popularity boom, and now like
Yeah,
wheat
10
beer-
years ago it was hef everywhere.
10 years ago, wheat beer was everywhere,
It was
and now
king.
it's like the bar we were at. I realized all too late had to kill the keg for Shock Top,
We were
and I
talking about that
and
yesterday.
I could have been getting those fucking 32-ounce mugs of Shock Top for $6 because they were trying to get rid of it. Shock Top was like spun off of AB,
But the
and
problem,
it was like one of their biggest sellers 10 years ago. Wheat
Then-
beer is in a weird spot.
but then you got to drink Shock Top. Like, I don't want to drink 32
Let's
ounces.
talk about a
I'm not-
sweet beer. Good
I'm not trying
God.
to take a cheap shot. I'm
That
just
beer is
saying
so sweet.
it's not a great beer. Like I could, yeah. I mean, 10 years ago, yeah, I could see why people would prefer it over other things because it actually has a complexity to it that I know it's not what I prefer, but if there was not even 10, 15 years ago,
No.
I don't know.
I'd love
The-
to do Hefeweizen.
the
dude.
reason
It's a
people-
crappy beer.
The reason people liked wheat beer is because it was sweeter,
Mhm.
especially if you put fruit juice in it or fruit,
Just
and
add a lemon to it.
and
Yeah.
now every beer is like we put Twinkies and Ho-Hos and Captain Crunch berries in here. And what else do you guys want? Fucking there's
know,
some
and-
pixie sticks in there. There's some fucking
Man, you know what?
I never had one of the milkshake beers. Even Everywhere, I believe, had one on tap yesterday. It's not, and I'd like to try them, but I'm not
People like
buying.
'em.
I'm not buying a pint. I want like a taster. I'll pay for the taster. Because that's all I want. Like it just seems like there's so much happening with it that I don't know.
all
I don't
these
wanna-
people are just too goddamn classy to buy a little fucking plastic bottle of vodka and pour it in Jamba Juice in the parking lot.
No doubt. Such a good point. And
It would taste
what,
better.
What I want to get out of a style pile here, you guys, is that there's Belgium, there's lambics, there's saisons, there's Belgian singles, there's doubles, there's infinite shows that we can pull out. We just want to get some hints from our listeners. Just let us know what's your favorite beer style that's not IPA or
No,
pale ale or whatever non-American beer style. Let us know.
dude, Hef
We'll,
would be
check it
great.
out.
I'm down for that. The first beer I ever bought as a legal 21-year-old person was a 12-pack of Widmer Hefeweizen, and it was fucking awesome.
Widmer's, yeah. I went to that actual brewery and had dinner with the owners of Widmer.
Did
the
you really?
actual brothers? Yes.
That used to be. I mean, I always joke about it. When we wanted to be fancy, we bought Widmer Hefeweizen instead of Coors Light.
So fancy. It was either that or like Pyramid was the other one, right?
Pyramid was the other one.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think they were
Pyramid.
local to me too. Norm.
Yeah.
I think that
Vid-
they were from
yeah.
Davis, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, Pyramid
Widmer's
was
from Oregon.
Pyramid was Seattle and Widmer was Portland, I think.
Yeah,
if I
yeah,
wanna
Portland.
remember right? Yeah. But Pyramid really fell off. And
Are they even
Widmer-
around anymore?
No.
Yeah.
I did
It's one
like
of those
Pyramid
that
Hef.
swallowed up.
Pyramid Hef was I think one of my breakthrough beers for craft beer.
Widmer was mine. I think Widmer's still around. It's hard to find. I don't see it anywhere anymore.
It doesn't exist.
It's gone. They're gone.
What you've
I
noticed
haven't
about
seen it in years.
a lot of the Northwest beer is they just skip California and they're hitting other states that have way less competition, right?
Yeah.
So like an example I've probably mentioned on the show before is like I went to a really nice bottle shop in Arizona and they had a fuckload of Deschutes, like every Deschutes beer you could fucking think
Black
of.
Butte.
And here, find me some Deschutes. What you're gonna get maybe
Yeah.
some fresh squeeze a couple times a year.
Black
and
Butte.
like
That's about it.
Black Butte, and that's it.
Like, is Mirror Pond around anymore?
No.
And
Fuck, remember
So
that
much
beer? Like, that
competition.
beer was awesome.
Right?
I love that beer back in the day.
I think it's just the Northwest brands like they have pulled out of California a lot of times because it just they have too
Nobody
hard of a
cares.
time competing. There's too many local brands that
Yeah.
have fresher, more local beer. So
There's all kinds of cool things in the chat. Red ale, dark mild, black lagers. I want more black IPAs, dude. Speaking of IPA, but whatever.
Dark mild is hard because there's not a lot packaged. I don't know anybody that's making a dark mild other than Eagle Rock, which just went out of business.
RIP. Speaking of just going out of business, I forgot to mention earlier, but the bar that John was talking about that Strong Liver Fest was out closed like last week.
Yep.
Was it Brewers Cafe? Yeah, in
Turns
Seattle.
out the liver's not so strong.
It seems like a good point to end the show. I don't know.
My goal, John, is
The
to
show
always
ends
have the
for-
last. I always want the last line.
The show ends forever at that one.
If you guys want
It
to
turns out the liver's not
over
so
how
strong.
the show ends, that's fine with me because I get a little bit of anxiety towards the end of the show thinking how I'm going to end it. So that's
Yeah.
totally cool. with
Turns
me.
out the liver's not so strong. Four Brewers ends forever. Just that's the end of the
Hopefully one of us doesn't die tomorrow or overnight. That would be weird.
Did you stop recording, John?
You can stop.
That's funny.
Fabio.
That was fun.
Yeah, totally.
I enjoyed that.
I'm telling you, I like drinking styles I never drank.
You ever get into sour beer or
Dude,
wild ales?
Bro, I love sour beer, but it's been so long. I have a whole closet and other fridge full of sour beer that I need to get to.
Okay.
We used to go to Sourfest every year.
What about Saison?
I like Saison. I've got a couple of Hill Farmstead Saisons I need to drink that I never have.
Okay, well, you're not completely an IPA guy. Good.
Oh, not responding. Come on now.
I mean, dude, I love lagers.
You're recording?
All I want to drink now is Hoppy Pilsner.
No, exporting.
Sorry, Joe. What'd you say?
I said,
You
Brett,
got
these days, all I want to drink is Hoppy Pilsners because I love the lower ABV, but I love the
Oh, my
hops.
favorite style. Yeah, 100%.
You know what else I had the other night, though, dude? We were at Green Cheek, and I had the brown ale, the Ryan's whatever brown ale. Fuck, I forgot how
Oh,
much I
brown
love
ale
brown
show.
ales. Can we do
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, if you can find 4 of them.
Yeah, how do we do that? What
I
brown
know
ales are available?
Beechwood has what's his name? Something brown.
Pizza
I don't
Port
know.
did bring back the brown for a while for the Padres.
Pizza Port has a brown, yeah.
That beer was good. I used to drink that at Petco. See if this work.
Goo goo. Let's see.
Oh,
see here.
man.
Have you guys noticed that the Stone is on a pretty steady rotation of being like, remember these beers that used to be good? They're back.
Yeah, they've been doing that for a while. That was like a social media push.
They had like a Double Bastard Double Bastard in
They just
cans.
re-released Double Bastard, didn't they?
It's coming
Yeah,
out in
yeah.
cans, yeah.
But it's in fucking 6-packs. And I'm like, I don't want that many. I'll buy one.
Are you kidding? Come on. We've complained for so long about these higher ABV strong beers being in too large packaging, and so they fulfill your wish, and now you're complaining about it.
It's in a 6-pack. I don't want 6 of them.
6
I
of them.
want
That's
one.
what one
It's
can.
12. Okay. Yeah, but it's come on. It's a 12-ounce can though. You just got to spread them out, and that's a beer that's
I'll get it.
totally cellar worthy. You can get 1 6-pack.
Never
and
going to
you're good
sell
to
our
go.
beer
You're good to
again.
go for a
I'm
year.
never adding a beer to my cellar. I'm only
was
removing
lied-
and too slowly.
I was lied to about cellaring beer. And
No,
now
there's
I'm not. I don't
still a
cellar
thing
beers.
to it.
Enjoy
No,
after.
no,
Greg,
no.
enjoy
if
after.
you want to cellar beer, have maybe a case of beer, like total.
I don't have that. I have looking at.
Remember
what I'm
Brett
buying.
beers? They're like, yeah, buy Brett beers and then
Yeah.
cellar those because they're gonna change over time. And you're like, ugh.
Aside from the huge stone
Fucking
bottles that
Brett
I got
beers.
for their Germany opening Kickstarter thing, I have
I'm
probably
pretty sure my dad never got those
I have-
bottles, by the way.
4 cases of beer. What happened, Joe?
He was
We're
part of
gonna-
all that stuff, and I don't think he ever got his stone bottles, dude.
We're gonna have a
Yeah,
4B
had
outing
to-
where we
dude, it
all
was
go to
so
John's
weird.
house and butt
You
chug
had-
those bottles.
Yeah, we need to. You
Let's
had
do
to
it.
pick them up like in phases because
Yeah.
they would brew them, and then if you didn't pick them up in a certain amount of time, and then you had to go to the tasting room, and they'd give you like a card to go to the bar to get a discount. It was so confusing.
Imagine how many sat like at the brewery that people never picked up. It's
Yeah.
probably about half of them, probably.
Towards the
He's just-
end, there was 2 pickups I missed, and so I'm like, hey, and I think I even hit up maybe Lizzie. I'm like, hey, how do I get these? Like, I missed out. And I,
The B,
you know,
the B stands for boofing.
That's my brother, by the way. What's up, Jeremy?
Good job. I've never boofed a beer. You ever boofed a beer?
Dude, and that's what you talk
Wait
about
a
the
second.
80s.
The stone beers, we can butt chug those because they're gonna taste terrible. But you butt chug
Yes,
it.
and just Martha Stewart them in the butt.
Yeah.
Like, but can you talk about how in the 80s there was a movie where a character's girl's name was Boof? Like, what are we doing?
What? Who?
On Teen Wolf. Fucking Boof was on there.
Holy shit! I don't remember Team Wolf that well.
What?
She's like, what's up?
No, I just remember that guy like stands on
What's
top
up,
of
I'm
a
Boof?
truck and like dances or whatever.
That, his name was Styles. They're Styles and Boof.
Styles.
that's a good movie.
Was
It's
that
a
Michael J.
fucking
Fox? Was it
great
called
movie.
Styles.
Yeah. My name is Fellatio. What's yours? Boof. Well, what are you doing tomorrow?
I'm saying her name was Boof in the movie. Like, who does that?
I don't know, man.
My brother's correcting me that he stood on a car in the second one. He thinks.
No, that was the first one. No, that was the
Ah,
first one.
yeah, there you
Yeah.
go.
It was.
I don't know.
Check this out.
What do we got
These
there?
are
Speaking of-
technically zucchini,
Wow.
but we grew them in our backyard. So there you go.
Can
You
you,
cooking
eat
that
them
for
when they're
dinner?
yellow? Are they
Nice job,
still, like,
Farmer
fine?
John.
One of them, this is a yellow zucchini. It's literally a yellow, and then this is. I feel like they should have been growing more because it seems like it needs to inflate more. Whatever, like
Inflate more. Nice job, Farmer John.
I don't know.
And it was
Farmer
all
John.
yellow.
Why'd you pick them now?
Because we're gonna eat them for dinner.
I don't want to. They're not done.
Why is he
Yes, they
barking?
are. They're not growing anymore.
Okay.
If she
He
thinks
likes-
they're done, they're fine.
Keep an eye on them.
Yeah,
Whatever.
you don't tell her
They
when
look
they're
good.
done.
No, if somebody growing the plants says the plants have finished their product, it's probably fine.
What are you doing with those, John? You gonna spiralize them? You
Chop
doing
it up.
little zoodles?
I don't know. She's gonna cook them tonight,
Doing
so
some zoodles.
I don't know. She cooks. She puts
Zoodles.
zucchini in everything she can. Just
I-
Zucchini's delicious.
That's not a bad thing to do.
no. They're
Like
good.
if I was vegan, I would eat the shit out of squash. All those.
I mean, it's
squashes
like
of
it's
the
so
world.
easy. Like you can just, I mean, you can do so many things with them. I was a big like in the beginning zucchini boats. Like you'd hollow out the zucchini and then add a bunch
Oh,
of stuff
fuck
to
yeah.
it. Yeah,
We did that using vegan ground beef and
yeah, dude.
onions and shit. Yeah, zucchini
Yeah.
boats are fucking awesome.
They're just,
so
it's
good.
such an easy
Yeah.
vessel to like put other delicious things in.
She hasn't made them in a while. That's funny you bring that up. I should tell her.
There you go. You got them right there.
Yeah. Oh,
Boat it up, dude.
I don't think since we moved she's made them.
Boof that boat.
Get on
Boof
that
that
boat, player.
boat. Boof that
More like
boat.
more like zucchini boofs.
All right, I gotta look up boof because I don't know what boofing
You know who
is.
she
That's
is.
where you.
You know,
That's where
she's
you
got brown
ingest
hair.
anally.
Ingest
John.
what?
Ingest anally.
Oh, got it.
John, remember when Richard would take pumpkin beers and he boofed them and he would tell him which beer was which?
You ever listen to that? Yeah. Do you ever listen to things? I could probably do that.
Dude,
like,
that shit was fucking awesome.
where he got like the viscosity. Of
He got
the
so many of
beers.
them right too. It was wild.
No,
It's like-
yeah.
You know how you
Yeah.
get there? Practice, Joe.
Yeah, I mean,
Practice.
that's what I was like, dude. How many times have you done this before, and why are you doing that?
It's just another reason for him to
Christ.
show his bits on the air. get airtime.
That was a
They
good
have
show,
like
man.
they have like a whole weird gym of all the weird New York people just fucking traded to be awful. They're like, you got to get your butt chugs up for the next week's episode.
Well, and it's
If-
pumpkin
if-
beer
if
too, which
your
is hilarious.
Butt chug
Like
is not there. Come on,
Dude,
man.
it was all
chug
pumpkin.
another one.
Jason's the reverse Joey Chestnut.
Speaking of,
I have
He's
a-
like,
I have
he's
a
just
feeling-
shoving hot dogs up his butt.
I have a
I'm saying-
feeling since they were pumpkin beers, like they were, because the pumpkin in the pumpkin or the pumpkin spice thing is usually really strong, right? So he could probably smell them from a distance as they're being.
you think that's what it
poured
was?
into-
Yeah,
I think so.
totally.
It was probably played a part in it. Yeah.
I'm saying you saw Joey Chestnut was not in the 4th of July contest this year, and it was like
because
why
he's
even watch
vegan.
it? Well, no,
Well-
he signed a thing with Impossible, but I'm like,
He
who
did it.
cares?
He did a goddamn
hot dog guy,
publicity
right?
stunt, is what he did. However, in his publicity stunt, he ate against like the troops or something. It was dumb. But
Wow.
in
Didn't he, like,
five
He, like,
in
50
5
something
minutes,
hot dogs?
he ate 54 hot dogs,
Yeah,
and the winner of the Nathans did 58 and 10.
yeah.
It
He was just like, "Hey, I'm gonna pull my dick out real quick and
just
show
letting you
guys."
know, I still win.
Yeah, I'm still that
But
guy.
yeah, the impossible
You
stunt.
can't beat
has
Joey
been-
Chestnut.
No,
The impossible stunt has been very like transparent, and I'm like annoyed that it's working so well. And we're just like, oh, they banned him, dude. It's like, no, he's
No.
like, can I go eat a competing hot dog and represent the competitor brand? And they're
get
like,
paid handsomely.
this is a Nathan's hot dogs contest, so like, no, that's like literally
Yeah.
we have like one fucking rule. It's like promote these goddamn hot dogs. That's
dude,
the whole reason.
Who's been
this
bigger
exists.
promoting Nathan's hot dogs than Joey Chestnut the last 10 years? Like, come on,
Yeah,
he's
right?
done-
But
he's done all of
again,
that.
But they're like,
I mean,
now he's like,
I try.
can I promote a competing brand on here? And it's like, no. This literally is a commercial. I don't know if you understand, but the whole point of this is that it's a
Yeah.
commercial.
it's
they're
not
like,
a real contest.
yeah, it's just a commercial for hot dogs.
It'd be interesting to see what the ratings were for this year, him not being in it. I
Who has
guarantee
ever
you.
watched
doesn't
one?
Yeah,
It was
air
more
on
than
anything.
2 minutes.
Right.
It's a live event that is also
always
a
feel-
fun news story.
Yeah, I feel bad for people like just throwing hot dogs down. They're like dunking him in water and like just get
it's
him
so
down for, like,
gross, dude.
oh. They're like goose.
Hey,
Who's AI art? Who's doing this
Tag-
AI art stuff?
Tag
That's
yourself.
probably Kyle.
That
That's
guy in the
Kyle.
middle looks like Aaron Rodgers, kind of.
Oh no.
Oh no!
Doesn't it?
Tag
like the
yourself.
microphones.
All right. Of the
What's-
4 boofers,
I like
The
the
dude-
bee on the microphone in the
you know,
I
bottom.
it's
think
funny.
I think I'm the guy on the left. I don't know why.
I was gonna say, Jason, the guy on the left looks like the dude in the bar yesterday that John didn't like.
We moved in.
He didn't like me. I mean, I don't like anyone wearing
Oh,
a MAGA
God.
hat, but he started it.
I
not me.
honestly am not ruling out that it was it was just a misunderstanding.
Oh, that one's kind of what's the
Gee-
beer? Is that like McKellar-esque?
I'm not gonna. No. I'm
What
not
is
gonna
that
go
art
there.
right there?
I
That's like
didn't do
It
McKellar-esque.
honestly looks kind of like everywhere's
Everywhere?
art style. Yeah.
Oh, it does. That actually looks pretty
Yeah.
cool. And one person has a microphone instead of a beer.
And someone's a female, it looks like, which is fine.
Okay.
He's the guy recording the podcast.
Look, if any women listeners want to be on the podcast, that'd be great. We just it's a fucking real dude fest over here. But
You know
I
who would
did,
love to be on the podcast? My mom.
all right,
A while back, I did a bunch of
Poor mommers.
AI.
Poor mommers.
Since we're here, I don't know if the chat cares. I was thinking of doing bringing back the metal logo.
The metal.
So let me go to my photos here.
hold on. That blue one is kind of rad.
All
I
right.
like
one
the
in the
blue
middle?
quite a bit.
So you got
That right
the-
there looks like every tribal tattoo that dude's got in the 90s.
Oh, it's got blood dripping. Yeah, that's not good.
No, it's
good.
not bad. It just reminds me of that.
This one I think
Yeah,
was
I like
Greg's favorite.
Yeah, that was
and,
pretty cool.
that one I kind of reworked. This one, some of
That
them
looks
have
like
weird
a
spelling things.
embroidered patch. It's like affected like it's an embroidered patch, right?
Yeah, it's got like
That looks
shading.
like fire. That's sort
Yeah.
of fiery, right?
You know what's
Yeah.
cool is the U looks like a W, like Fowler Brewers.
See, yeah, that's the AI. fucking-
Power.
So that one's automatically out.
Foul Brewers.
That one,
Wow.
I don't know what happened here.
You
That
know
one
what? No,
has
that
got-
looks
it's
like
got hot nugs.
that looks like 19 like 70s.
It's got
like-
wheat and hops. I like that.
Well, the prompt was add.
I like-
think I said add
okay.
hops and barley,
wheat
but make it
barley,
look
yeah.
like organic, like it's growing out of the ground. And that
That's
one
pretty
didn't
neat.
work. This
Yeah,
one's
it is
okay.
I didn't care for that. No, that's pretty bad. That's better.
My
That's
kids
pretty
liked that
uniform.
one a lot
Okay.
because they said it looks like a tree that's growing hops.
There we go.
But I was like,
We're
a
getting
hop doesn't
closer.
grow
That's
on a tree.
better. It is a little hard to read,
More-
where like dumbs won't be able to read it, but like
Who? Dumb?
dumbs.
The guy at
Oh.
the bar.
Oh,
That looks pretty cool. I don't.
I like
love
that
that
one's
logo.
fun. It's a whole different thing, but it's fun.
that was
Yeah,
cool.
I don't know what the prompt was.
It looks
The
like
F
it's
is
like
really
It
small.
kind of looks like it's flipping you off too on the right, a little bit.
the
I like
suds. That-
This looks like
Okay.
Glenn
Oh,
Dan's.
God,
Why
no,
is there
this
a
one-
cat?
I put that in the prompt to have a cat in there. And a
Tag
wizard,
yourself. The cat is John.
just to see how like far I could take it. And,
John, have you
and-
seen? Speaking of cats, have you seen the Instagram reel that's the Titanic but with a cat?
No,
It's Leonardo DiCaprio with a cat.
I'll ask Yvonne. I'm sure she's
It's the
seen it.
fucking best.
Oh no, I have seen that. Yes,
It's
I know
so
what you're
great.
talking about. No, that one. Okay, that's the one Greg likes. Okay, that's when I. Okay, I was fixing it. Yeah, that was the fix because I had.
How can you make a four brazzers? Oh, not
It's
that
just
one.
Boobs.
Fuck that one. Never. I like how it says Angelus with two E's. Go back to that, John. Angelus.
It's like
Wait,
top-
hold on.
this
Go
one's
back
like we-
again.
This is
What
like
does
we
it say
made
at
a
the bottom?
hanger.
4D4. What's that, all that?
Basier.
What is that? Bassier?
For Braziers.
What's on
AI
the-
doesn't. AI doesn't understand words. It's
So-
important to know that.
Yeah. if we ever have a wife's show, it should be called the Four Braziers.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll fucking love that.
Los Angeles. That one's Top Gun.
This looks like Hangar 24 made
Gun.
of fucking Four Brewers beer.
fucking talk to me, Goose.
Those are my shoes.
Oh, that's amazing.
They put BS at the bottom on that one. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Because it's
They
all
know
bullshit,
why.
John. That's
So this is where I wanted them to add the word podcast. So for some reason they did Four Brewers like the way I wanted it, but podcast was just podcast.
in regular font.
I don't know why.
Honestly, that would help.
Again, they did it
Podcast.
again.
Joe,
Podcast is like
No, I'm kind of
impactful.
into that. I'm kind of into that one. It looks like a 4 years strong fucking album cover.
okay. That I can see that.
I'm here for that. I'm here for that one. I'm okay with podcasts being like kind of weird. It's like
And it's funny how
no,
it's
so am
completely
I. I'm
different
just saying
font.
it's weird that the AI engine was like, I'm gonna make podcast this.
well, because Four Brewers is what we are, and podcast is like a label, so it's not part of the logo.
no, I get it, but I didn't make any reference to it being separate. I just said make Four Brewers podcast look like this, and it always made
probably-
podcast.
In all 85,000 podcast logos that it plagiarized, it noticed that podcast was usually in a different font.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one's kind of weird. That's skulls.
That one's very Castle Grayskull kind of. At
It
the top.
looks. I got Skeletor immediately.
Yeah.
I'm kind of into that too.
Skeletor.
That one's okay. The hop is
The nuggets kind of
People wouldn't be able to read that shit. If like it sounds cool on a shirt, except for like if you don't know it says Four Brewers, people are gonna look at them. And be like,
Jason,
what the
sit and
fuck is
drink.
that?
Sit and drink $6 32-ounce shock tops, and you'll be able to read that shit in like in 30 minutes.
$6 hot. Yeah.
You'll be fine.
that one's ooh,
Oh wow, that's foie gras. Foie.
Four.
podcast.
Foie Brewers.
Foyer.
Podcast. Why is there
Foyer
two
French?
Brewers.
Why
Hey,
is there
It's
two
a French
A's?
podcast.
Welcome
two
to
A's at the
Foyer
bottom.
Brewers, bro.
Podcast.
Foyer Brewers podcast.
Podcast.
Donza.
It's the Foyer Brewers podcast, dude.
Then there's just fucking
But-
pineapple. Like what is
I
that?
kind of like the podcast with the extra A. Make it 2 O's and 2 A's. That'd be rad.
Podcast.
Podcast.
I did this originally.
Oh, hey there.
because- That's Joe. Hey.
Podcast.
This was the cartoon of Joe. That's that obviously.
That's funny.
But it's from a
Okay.
photo that my wife took, but he was wearing a hoodie in the photo, so I had
That was
to,
remember it was raining at Green Cheese.
yeah. I took his ear.
Dude,
right
that
here.
looks so fucking creepy.
I took his ear from this video. right
That's
there.
So funny.
And
Nice ear.
it worked pretty well.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow. See,
Looks like I have a fucking bra on my head or something. Doesn't it? Like it looks like
the
I've
final
got.
product looks like fine. You can't
Yeah.
even tell.
Well, that's
So,
good.
I forgot how to do this.
Fwa.
Intrigue. Hope I'm
Foie
not showing any
gras.
incriminating photos here.
Void.
There's your fucking fire hot sauce. I ate that this morning
There you
again.
go. Bam.
You guys have John's hot sauce, by the way?
I got it. Yeah.
Yeah, that
That's-
sounds good.
That's delicious.
Anyway.
So good.
Say it.
John clicked away before we saw his nudes.
There are no nudes.
There
He's
should
like,
be.
and here's
here's
John
the-
tastefully behind a
Yvonne,
bearskin
I'm
rug.
going to say she has sent me nothing near nude, but risque stuff. And I'm like, don't ever
Oh.
do this. That is not
Wow.
smart.
I'll
Tell
give
us
you
more,
$100
John.
for that.
Tell us more.
Just kidding. Here's my video from yesterday.
Disco Cocoon here, Anaheim, California. This place is so crazy.
This is 30 seconds before I saw Greg. There I am.
Joe, the reason I asked you if it was the rainbow station is because at night that arc it's like they make it look like a rainbow. And it
Hey,
looks
there's me.
incredible.
There I am.
Holy shit.
See that?
Wow, that's some great vlogging, dude.
I tried to vlog, and then I lost interest.
there I am
like,
again.
halfway through.
Yeah, I didn't notice you doing any vloggy shit.
That's usually how vlogging goes when I start. It's like I'll do an intro video when I leave the house and I'll get somewhere and be like,
Grazie.
Hello, sir. How are you?
It's Ryan.
Dude, Ryan's so fucking cool.
fuck
Me
yeah.
and Ryan bonded off of buying t-shirts off the same weird guy. His Nickelback shirt. is
Hey,
the
watch
same
how much
place
watch
that-
how much Yvonne enjoys this. She loves it.
Hindenburg.
Oh,
I smell it.
look at her.
That's actually not terrible.
So,
That's not bad.
I like Hindenburg.
Not right angle.
So good.
Do you want it? It's your not done. That was very.
Dude, you know what
Disco
sucks?
Cocoon.
Is
There
like
we go.
I totally planned on I wanted to do a beer review. Like I was like, oh yeah, I started doing all this vloggy stuff, and then I was like, fuck, I don't have my microphone. So I literally
Oh, you should have
edited,
asked.
I know. I edited a video this morning and it's like a walkthrough of everywhere, but without me saying anything ever or
Oh,
like
okay.
talking or I'm like, whatever. I'm still gonna upload it. I don't give a shit.
Right? I just bought the
Yeah, right.
DJI wireless mics that come in like a little box and everything. I would have
Yeah,
bought it if I knew.
that's
'Cause
right.
I mean, I was like, it's Joe's thing.
I had
I'm
one.
Not, I'm not going to take over.
You should have. I wish you would, dude. I would actually have some good
I
production.
brought 2 production microphones with me.
John, anytime I go anywhere, just bring shit to record stuff.
Okay, I will do that. No problem.
Next time.
We
Next
can
time
do
we'll
it.
hit it. All right. I got a jam, boys.
All right,
All right,
bud.
Greg.
We'll see you.
Later.
That was a good show. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right.
Jason, your brother wants hot sauce. So when I make another batch, I'll
Dude, your hot
I'll
sauce
give
is
some to you for
fucking
you to give
legit.
to
I
me.
like it.
Is he the
I
one that
haven't
lives in Texas?
Texas, so yeah.
Yeah.
Texas?
Yeah.
You know what comes from Texas, Jason?
Don't say it. Steers and beers. How about that?
Well, that's why when Greg said pile of style, my first thing was like private pile.
I didn't know they stack shit that high.
What is
I know
major
Greg just
malfunction?
left, but next week we're doing the liquid gravity show. And
Okay.
so do we want to do all 6 or do we want to do just 4?
Let's do 8.
I mean, do we want to just get absolutely fucking ham sauced, or do we want to?
I'm just asking.
Yeah.
Because if you want to do just 4, then I think we should pick them. We got 6
Uh,
because it was a case to be shipped. So
I know, but I gotta use the bathroom. So
okay, well then I guess we'll figure this out later.
talk amongst yourselves.
You're coming back? Oh, I guess he's coming back.
Thanks, Yeah, dude, I feel bad. Like I have this whole video I'm gonna upload, and it's just like this whole thing of like me going to the train station and like riding to everywhere and like going around and like I have all the stuff from like when we were walking through the brew house, but I have nothing, I have nothing else.
Just do like an overdub, like make the video and then watch the video and talk about it while you're watching it, and then put that audio on top of the
I
video.
don't even know, bro. I don't know how to do any of that,
Oh, come on. You have a
It's
microphone?
dude. It's fine. I'm just gonna fucking upload it. That's what. Listen, you don't go to my channel for like some good production shit. You just
You got good production. It's just you
No.
don't put a whole lot of work into your post production. That's all.
no, because I don't know how to do any of it.
Oh, don't give me that.
I don't. It's fine.
You do have a shitty app that you use to edit your video. I'll tell you that.
I
like,
do, but I know how to use it.
I'm up here with like Final Cut Pro and
Of course.
Premiere. doing
think it's what is it called?
stupid beer shit.
Move AV or something. That's what I use.
I forgot. But
Don't
when I
even-
saw it, I was just like, oh no.
Don't hate on it. Come on.
You were inviting me to hate on it.
It's terrible. It's fine.
I mean, if it works, like you got 8,000 plus subs.
I want to
12.
go back to everywhere and we can do like a fun like beer review and like hang out with the guys. Like it'd be fun.
Yeah, I mean, probably would have been kind of inappropriate with, the wives there. And it's
Yeah.
like a whole hangout session kind of thing.
You know
And
what's
we
super
just
cool is like
go
one of
away.
my Instagram beer buddies like showed up and like hung out, like brought some beers. Like it was like that's the best part about the fucking beer community, you know?
Yeah, I saw that. I assumed he was a sub on your
Mm-hmm.
YouTube channel or something.
And I mean, we've talked for years about beer, and he was like, "Oh, you're gonna be everywhere. I'll come hang out." I'm like, "Sweet, come hang out."
Yeah.
That's the fun part.
Yep. Yeah. When we
Boom
do our
on the
anniversary-
cops.
that was the best part about doing the anniversary shows for New Brew Thursday, because we like when I was in my band, it was hard, really difficult to get like a decent turnout. And every anniversary party for New Brew Thursday, like massive crowds, and it was
That's cool.
amazing. It was so fun.
I kind of feel like beer, like I don't know, YouTube beer stuff is kind of slowly dying off, but there was a little while, like in 2016, 2017, where I'd go to like local breweries just to like grab beers by myself, and dudes would walk up and be like, "Joe," and I'm like, "Fuck, that's so cool."
Dude, I've literally seen that happen every time I go out. It still happens to you.
I mean, it's fun. Like it's just, I don't know. I like the community part of it.
John
people-
still gets recognized where we go all the time. They'll be like, "Are you from New Brew Thursday?" And he'll be like, "Oh yeah, I did that a while ago." And then
It's
like every
dwindling.
10th time, it's like, "Hey, are you guys the Four Brewers?" It's like, "Yeah, we're wearing shirts that say Four Brewers."
The one thing that bums me out is like I'll post a picture of like being somewhere, and someone will comment and be like, "Dude, I was there. I wasn't sure if that was you." I'm like, just fucking walk up to a stranger and be like, "Hey, do I know you?"
Yeah.
Just do
I've
it.
had someone at a beer festival recognize me by my voice.
That
That
awesome.
was wild. I was like, "Oh, holy shit!" I mean, yeah, that is me.
Like he
but,
was away, but heard you talking like from.
yeah,
he
they're
couldn't
like,
see you.
"I heard you talking. Are you Jason from Four Brewers?" I'm like,
You're like, no,
Yeah.
I'm actually Jason motherfucking Harris.
No,
Phil,
I've had the same thing. Not New Brew Thursday, but 4B related people recognize me from my voice. And
Phil,
I'm just like, Jason, I think, has a very unique voice in
You
a
do have
good
a
way.
unique voice,
Like,
yeah.
and I feel like I
Do
just
I?
have the most boring
Thanks.
white guy voice.
I don't like my voice, but nobody does. I don't. Think.
I'd rather listen. What is it? I'd rather.
I
listen
prefer to listen to Cheap Trick.
Cheap Trick.
Phil talking about the 4B party in Pomona, which is like I think the one time we did like a live event, which was, or we did a couple. We kind of did the one at Ferk Fest.
The Ferkfest one was logistically a nightmare because we had
It was a misstep. I
or
think.
we had eight mics and 2 tables, and the monitors were. I should have followed my instincts and give everyone headphones, because I don't know who suggested it, but they're like, "Oh, just put like a speaker monitor," and I'm like,
Nobody could hear anybody.
no. And so, and then
Well-
there was a dude that, God rest, I think he died, but this
Wait, that guy died? I don't
I
think he died.
no, I think he did.
Wait, where's Greg? That guy didn't die.
Greg is gone.
I think he did.
No, that guy's like famous around Orange County. It's this weird dude who's like a math professor and like would show up wearing like full gear, like he was like biking. Like he'd always wear like those like bike shirts and everything. And
I mean,
would
was he
just be
biking
like,
to places,
No.
or he just was wearing those? Was he a
He'd
biker?
So
get
you would-
he'd get drunk at a beer fest and then act like he was at a metal show and be like, yeah. But
Yeah,
there's no
and
music.
so
Yeah, he's
so
dead
he
for
sat
sure.
there while we're doing the podcast, just doing this, like,
But then he would walk up to the table, and someone
not-
had to be like, "Hey, you need to back off."
like he wasn't being threatening. I think he was just being like, "Fuck yeah, you
he was
guys
having
are
a good time. That's all it was.
But like
Yeah.
he was just a fucking weird guy, and he's like a character where like if I forget his name, Greg would know, and you can look him up. He's like around, and he was, definitely a
wasn't there,
college
like, a story
professor.
written about him on like a blog or
Yeah,
a newspaper. or
yeah,
something?
he's a character. He makes friends wherever he goes.
No, you just talk to him outside of that. He's an interesting guy to talk to, and it's not like, he's this creepy drunk dude. He's just he goes to beer fest and has fun, and he in a weird way.
I
That's
think
all.
he is very socially awkward, maybe on some
Yeah.
sort of spectrum, but
Yeah, that's definitely for sure.
But ultimately harmless, a little creepy.
The live thing, though,
But he never escalated or did anything.
Yeah.
That was weird because, like I said, people couldn't hear other people talk because we're talking into a microphone, not shouting.
Right.
And I don't know. But then the one in Pomona, we borrowed a PA system from Brad Daniels, and that went pretty good. Except I think Greg wasn't there, right? It was just me, you, and Matt.
Oh, maybe
Greg couldn't make it because I think I have a photo where I'm like, we're all standing there taking a picture and like hugging a non-existing Greg.
Did you Photoshop him in?
No, it was Back to the Future style where he just disappears.
Well, no, it was nice because God, what are those guys called? The bar in Pomona. The Rookery. Yeah. They gave us their space. They had a really big like back area that they only really opened on like Saturday night. So they gave us the whole back space and were like serving us, and they were really fucking cool. Like,
when was that?
Probably a year that makes me feel old ago, like 2018 or something. I want to say.
Gotcha. A good buddy of mine bartended at the Rookery, but I think it was after that.
Yeah. Probably when they moved to the smaller spot.
How did you guys pick Pomona, by the way?
We had an inn at the Rookery, 2017.
Oh,
yeah. It was yeah. What's that?
Sorry. No, I was playing a clip. I made like an ad for it.
Oh yeah, we did. We have the photo on our website. So the for all 8 people listening, the 4B at the Rookery.
There you go. That's the photo.
Greg is not there. You'll have to do that this year at the thing. I was so bummed when he said the thing got moved to the previous weekend because I can't go to that now.
Oh, for whatever.
Yeah, it was supposed to be October 5th, and then he said it changed to the weekend before. I'm gonna be out of town that weekend.
Yeah, apparently because Pumpkin Drublick is coming through town. So
that sucks, dude.
Clearly a larger deal than FerkFest.
That's horseshit. I don't agree with that.
I looked at
a big deal compared to what?
It's NoFX's. This is our final tour with a series of festivals, and I think
it's like the third one.
The Pumpkin Drublick one is like the big festival with like So Friday, it's a 3-day festival. Friday night, Dropkick Murphys, MXPX, Bouncing Souls. Saturday, Descendants, Less Than Jake, Lagwagon. Sunday, Pennywise, Vandals, Subhumans.
Wow.
It's actually pretty
fucking sick, dude.
Like down the list, there's a lot of good shit too. Like, it's all fat bands, but yeah.
Were we talking about that yesterday? Do they still make that Pumpkin Drublick beer or no?
No, they killed it after the whole Vegas thing.
That's right. You said that.
I just heard a song. I forget who did it. It was just like Fat Mike is. Oh, it was Less Than Jake did a song called "Fat Mike is on Drugs Again," and they were talking about him making the comments about Las Vegas and getting the beer canceled. And it's just like, "Yep, Fat Mike is on drugs again." Like it was a pretty funny song.
I think I told you guys
that you like because he went to Rad Beer Company, Collins's brewery, who also does Pumpkin Drublick. He's the promoter. He went there once by himself, and then I think once with Fletcher, from the guitar player from Pennywise, and each time he was drinking Liquid Death water while everyone else was, because Fletcher, he'll never stop drinking beer. Like he's known, that's part of his personality at this point. But
I think I told you guys I was in Vegas like 2 or 3 weekends after that happened, and it was eerily quiet. It was weird being there after that.
Yeah, you got to imagine people aren't excited to go party.
Dude, we almost canceled our trip. It was just such a weird feeling. Like we're like, do we go? Like, what's gonna happen? But it's like we
also for Joe, I feel like this is a brand you'll appreciate.
Casa.
I like that.
Yeah, Casa Agria. Are they not on your radar, Joe?
No, Casa Agria. They're the ones that are in. Is that?
They're in the valley-ish. Oxnard.
Yeah. Oh, I'm thinking of Sarah, not Casa. Sarah's the one that's in like Santa Cruz, right?
Yeah. They're the wild producer in Santa Cruz. Casa Agria is the. They were a hype style brewery, are a hype style brewery out of Oxnard.
Casa. Let me see something real quick.
Casa Agria. I only say it like Cartman saying Casa Bonita.
This is the one thing that Untapped is good for. I can see. I've had 3 Casa beers. Let's see here. I had Huerta in 2018, which I liked.
Kevin Foote, our Bay Area correspondent, is saying that Sarah has great lagers and West Coast IPAs.
Where in the Bay Area is he?
I don't know. He said he was in the Bay earlier, though.
I had a beer, Jason, called Goodnight Waltz, and on Untapped it says, this is the best non-barrel aged barley wine I've ever had.
All right.
That's a Casa beer. And then a Saison something Sotano. I don't even remember drinking. This is why I'm glad I have this app. I don't remember drinking this beer. Awesome.
Dude, a guy I work with who I haven't talked to in a while messaged me, and he's like, what happened to your Untapped? You haven't checked in since 2023. And I'm like, I just kind of stopped using it. I just...
Oh, he's in Berkeley.
Yeah.
I'll be up there in a couple weekends. I'm going to a wedding in Cupertino.
Home of the apple.
Yep.
Dude, when I was in like Fremont, granted this was probably like 7 or 8 years ago, it sucked. There was nothing cool to do. There was no good bars. I was like, man, it
Fremont's
sucks
pretty blah. Fremont is where I used to live in Morgan Hill, and I would go to the Fremont BART station to go to like Warrior games, because you would just take the train, and I had like an hour to pass out on the way home before I had to drive again. So Fremont to me was always the BART station.
Kevin's gonna drop you some recs in the Discord.
Oh, nice. I mean, last time I'm trying to think. I don't even remember what beers we were drinking last time we were there. I was born in San Jose, and then I've not been in NorCal for 20 years.
I haven't been to the Bay in so long. Yeah. And it, like, I don't know, I kind of like feel like maybe doing something and like integrating like wine country a little bit might be fun. Like, I don't know, I'm old and fucking have a little bit of money. I could maybe like go wine tasting up there and not be fucking destitute.
Fuck, maybe Kevin will know. We were there last summer, and I took the kids to a San Jose Giants game, and we went to a brewery that was like 5 minutes from that stadium that was really good. Fuck, I don't remember the name of it.
When we were in Slow, my wife's brother worked at a winery, and I guess it was his like last day there or whatever. Mm-hmm. But the owner came out, and he was like drinking a mimosa, and I was like, that mimosa looks really good. Where do I get one of those? Guess what? Work, my man. I got a free mimosa. He's like, oh, you want a Mimo? Yeah, I'll get you one right now. I think we got a little bit of champagne left in the back. I was like, hell yeah, dude.
It's something fermentation, because I have a picture of the beer, NF, something fermentation. It was a rad spot. And their beer was really good. Kevin, do you know this brewery? Not new fermentation. It's not that simple. It's something fermentation.
Narrative fermentations.
Narrative? Yeah.
I just Googled it.
Yeah. That place was cool. We sat out in the thing. There was a band. We were playing board games. It was rad. I like that beer.
Dude, I've been sitting in front of fans all day. My eyes are like fucking watering like crazy. I'm like,
Narrative fermentation. That's a cool spot. I think San Jose. I've always said that like the South Bay needs beer. I think Kevin Euclid, opened a spot in Los Gatos maybe that does pretty well, but there wasn't really like great beer there when. I mean, obviously, I haven't lived in the South Bay area since 2005. So maybe there's more stuff, but
I really want to go back up there. This is a very weird thing, but I want to go to the mystery spot.
The Winchester Mystery House?
No, the like Santa Cruz mystery spot.
What's the Santa Cruz mystery spot?
You've definitely seen like a bumper sticker of it.
It's in Santa Cruz?
Yeah.
Are you sure you're not talking about the Winchester Mystery House?
Definitely not. It's the Santa Cruz mystery spot. And I know I know of it because I remember when I was a kid at Knott's Berry Farm, they had this whole thing. It's like it's basically like a series of optical illusions that they set up where like the room is at an angle, so like you look like you're standing up straight, or you're standing up straight but you look like you're all sideways, or like there's like water fountains that are hanging and they're pouring, and like it's all these like little optical illusion magic trick things.
Dude, I feel
And it
like
was
you
like
and I have talked about this.
it was my favorite thing at Knott's Berry Farm, and it's not there anymore, and it doesn't really exist. And as I understand, the San Jose Mystery Spot is basically that same thing. Maybe what Knott's Berry Farm copied, maybe it was a popular trope that was everywhere, and now they're one of the only ones left. Either way, I want to go.
Yeah.
Because it's like, look, I'm standing in a room, but I'm sideways. What?
There's a podcast I listen to called Connected. There's a host from the UK, one from Italy, and one from Tennessee. I don't know, somewhere in the south. But the guy from the UK was here for the last WWDC from Apple, and he took a photo in a place where basically he was on the ceiling like Spider-Man, and I have a feeling it was that place.
Yeah, it's that. It's just a bunch of optical illusions mostly, but it's like it's fun.
Yeah, and then you could hit Sarah, you go to Humble Sea, like drink all those beers.
Yeah, and it's got to figure out like another non-drinking reason to be up there.
Yeah.
Humble Sea, like, I mean, I don't think I've ever had beers from Humble Sea, and I've heard of them, but
oh, hey, Matt's here.
What's up, dude? See, he's like someone he knows has a mystery spot bumper sticker.
Well, that's what Jason said. You've seen the bumper sticker.
Now that the bumper stickers are everywhere, dude. The mystery spot bumper sticker is now that you know it, you will see it all the time. You probably see one a day.
I've seen those black and yellow bumper stickers now that I saw that. Yeah, for sure. I just didn't know. I guess I didn't realize Santa Cruz Mysteries. When you said mystery spot, the only thing I think of is Winchester Mystery. Do you know the Winchester Mystery House?
Yeah, I know the Winchester Mystery House.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, Humble Sea ships.
They do. They started doing that during COVID, dude. When COVID first happened, I drank so much fucking Humble Sea beer.
I'm just
I was a socks and sandals guy.
Share my screen again.
You Humble Sea now.
I think my local Bottle Craft gets Humble Sea cans too.
In Humble Sea
I
now.
I'd have to double check that.
So let's see here. This is what they have. You're seeing what
West Coast Pale Ale.
Oh, yeah.
West Coast.
Penelope Pills. I guess we got to get that. I mean, let's just get them all.
Add to cart.
Penelope Pills. Decocted German pills with noble hops.
Kevin Foote dropping what I've known about them, which is
he's right.
I've only had hazies from them.
Yeah.
Fun note is that looking at their website, they don't have a hazy on sale for shipping at least.
Interesting.
West Coast Pale, double dry hop, West Coast double, West Coast pills, smoothie beer.
Look at that too, dude. $18 for a 4-pack. Like, I can appreciate that. That's like Green Cheek pricing almost. Green Cheek is unfuckwithable when it comes to pricing on their beers.
Unfuckable.
Dude, that one, when I was there, I think it was the one lager. It was $13.20 for a 4-pack. I'm like, what? That's so cheap.
The smoothie beer is $30.
Yeah, see, fuck off. That's got to have lactose
in it
too,
I've
right?
never had a smoothie. Maybe we buy from. I don't know.
Is there lactose in there, John? Can't do that.
Guava, raspberry, dragon fruit, beet powder, and vanilla.
Oh wow, fucking beet powder.
Beet powder. Well, that's how they got the color, right?
Oh, and it says superfood smoothie. Is that what it says?
Super Pops.
Superfood smoothie series.
Pink Lush.
Yeah, Kevin said he got a can. Focal and Heady for $4.69 a can. That's what I saw Heady at a local store here in Vista. Well, not here, like where I work in Vista. It was $5 a can, but at the brewery, I think those are $14 for a 4-pack, which is insane.
Of what, Heady?
Of Heady and Focal, yeah, $14.
We have it in Temecula, which is
what are they selling it for 4-packs?
I want to say it was like $18 or something.
That's actually not bad.
Yeah.
I mean, you're paying for the shipping to get it here.
Do we want the smoothie beer? Will it last the truck ride?
I mean,
Well, that's
honestly,
actually they
no.
probably. I think they ship GSO, dude. You'll get it next day
GLS, yeah, okay.
or whatever. It wasn't it
I
called Golden
mean,
State Overnight before?
It's 30. It's the most expensive beer on there. It's
Am I aging
8%.
myself?
I'm gonna shit on it. Like,
No, you don't want it, Jason?
Buy it.
if we're gonna leave one out, leave that one out.
I want
But
Jason
John's
to
also
shit
like,
all over a beer.
I've never had a smoothie sour, so fucking get that one.
had.
Well, they have 6 for sale, and that's what you need for a case. So,
clear beer.
um,
Oh, see, yeah, Kevin knows. It was GSO. I thought I was aging myself.
the stroke.
GSO's who Tavor uses.
I saw, dude. Did you see Horace is on Tavor now?
No, I kind
I'm
of
like,
left
dude,
them because they became all smoothies and fucking smoothies and pastries, and I'm like, yeah, it's just not for me. And also, like, they're big into their app, and I'm like, can you just make a fucking website,
dude? And you can't even. You go on their app, you can't search. There's no search function on that app, which makes zero sense to me. I'm like, if I want to search by brewery, why can't I do that?
So this
2024. How do you not have a search function on your fucking app, dude? Like, it's insane.
West Coast Pills, and it's a collab with Pint House.
It's probably a 5 out of 5 if it's a West Coast Pills.
Nelson Mandarina Bavaria Hallertau Blanc collab with Pint House.
It's got Nelson
cart
and done.
And then,
can you enter your credit card on the stream?
I use Apple Pay.
Oh, okay.
Can you just put it out there with your last 4 digits of your social?
No, there's nothing that.
Oh, there you go. $13.
My address, but
any 4-pack of Alchemist at the brewery, $13. That is insanity.
That's cool.
I've rented on the show a lot of times that the 4-pack pricing hype or like hysteria is a little bit out of line, where people were like happy to pay $10 for a bomber, and now they're like, oh, $20 for fucking 64 ounces. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
And it's like, growlers have cost more than that forever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you think about it, you go to a bar, like a pint is going to be between $7 and $8. So if you're getting a 4-pack for under $20, like, you're stoked, right? Am I wrong about that?
No, you're right.
That's why when I see Green Cheek selling 4-packs of West Coast IPA for $15, I'm like, fuck yeah.
Well, I mean, you know, retail package beer is always going to be cheaper than bar beer, right? Like, they have to pay the overhead of having a fucking bar, right? So, like, I get it. If this beer costs me, you know, $2 a can when I buy a 6-pack or whatever, or let's say $4 a can, and then it's an $8 pour at the bar, yeah, that's what I'm paying for. I'm paying for being at a bar. But like, people got real, like, with like bigger beers, like double IPAs and shit like that, people would happily pay $8 or $9 for a bomber. But then it was just like, okay, so you'll pay $9 for 22 ounces of it, but for 64 ounces, $21 is fucking egregious. Right. And I was like, I'm pretty sure that math works out in your favor versus the $9 22 ouncer.
Right.
But like, people just think big things are worth more. Like,
that's true, yeah.
Like, growlers were always egregiously overpriced at every brewery ever. Like, a 64-ounce growler fill was always like stupidly expensive,
right? Which is essentially a 6-pack of beer that you're getting.
Less. It's a half gallon of beer, yeah.
But it's less, right? Because it's
it is less. Yeah.
12 times 6 is a 60.
It's 5 beers, yeah.
It's 72, right? Yeah. So they're like, yeah, we have growlers for $28, and people were like, yeah, I'll buy that. That seems like a good price. It's a big old jug of beer.
Yeah.
And it's like, you just bought a 6-pack
for $30
for fucking $30.
So from Humble Sea, I'm not buying the smoothie, but we're getting extra cans of the West Coast Pills.
All right.
So I think it's a fair compromise.
I love it.
It is the most expensive, which sucks.
The only time I got upset about beer pricing was when they did when Russian River did the last release of Pliny for President, because I'm like, after shipping a 7% IPA in a 4-pack was $40. I'm like, fuck off. I just can't do it. But that's
again, I love that video. Like, just the raw emotion from
it just upset me, dude. But of course, I was the idiot. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to buy this because I want to drink it.
Batvid Vision says growlers only make sense if you're sharing. I'm gonna say they never make sense. They were always pretty bad packaging, and that's why they've died.
Dude, I remember Jason. I remember going to Knee Deep and getting 64-ounce growlers of Hopperillo, which was fucking
14%.
I'm like, why are we doing? And we would drink the whole thing that night when we got home after drinking all day there.
The first time I had younger was out of a growler at Bill's house.
I mean,
Super Bowl.
Was it a 64-ounce growler?
Yeah.
Bear in mind,
you got it shipped down from someone. And
could you imagine these days getting a 64-ounce pour of Pliny the Younger? It's like it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
I just want to say I am not coming from like a fucking pedestal where I'm like better than all this. I've thrown away probably 20 64-ounce growlers.
Same. Yeah.
That I've paid $30 to $40 for.
Yeah.
And you set them aside in the pantry because you're going to use them again one day. So
I did that one day. It was a
and then you realize that having a 6-pack of beer that's all in one jug is very inconvenient.
Yeah.
It doesn't fit in anything. Once you open
well, there were whole like devices made where you take your jug of beer home and you plug it into this thing and like you open it up and you can tap it literally. It would carbonate the bottle, but not enough to make it explode because that's not what the bottle's intended for. But it would keep the beer fresh and carbed enough to flush out the oxygen. It was just a whole thing that was, in hindsight, just, I guess maybe it was cool for the time, but dude, now it's just so much to go through.
You know what I just remembered? We got to get together and I have a 64-ounce growler in my fridge right now of a Treehouse Stout from 2015.
Oh my God.
We got to drink that, dude. Let's
got to be oxidized.
Who cares? Who fucking cares?
Let's do the Stone thing.
We got to do that.
Do that for a Patreon bonus show.
It's a coffee stout too, which means it doesn't taste like coffee anymore.
2015.
That's from 2015, I think, dude. Huh. It's in the back of my fridge.
It's been there the whole time?
It's been there the whole time.
The growler is the worst container ever made.
Come on, let's do it.
I'll do it.
But I will drink it. Yeah.
You won't drink it, Jason, or you will?
No, I'll drink it.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, let's do it.
Fuck
it, we'll do it live.
I mean, it'll suck, but I'll drink it.
What if it's great? What if it's
that's
amazing?
Mystery, right? That's the beauty behind trying.
What if we're like, dude, this is like old school Treehouse mouthfeel?
And that's what we get out of Cheap Beer Corner, Mike.
Joe, I don't know what old school Treehouse mouthfeel is.
Ooh, those days were special.
When I used to drink Treehouse in 2015, it was amazing.
It's for sure barley wine, dude. Who knows what it is?
You are the old IPA man, so
I drink old beer, dude. That's where that whole joke came from. Like, I would do a video on YouTube. I'm like, oh, this was canned 3 weeks ago. Someone's like, it's fucking not fresh, bro. I'm like, oh, apparently I'm drinking old IPA, so that's what I want to do.
Yeah. Turns out after 3 weeks, it's probably better than when it was.
Dude, with hazy beers for sure. I did drink a 2-year-old can of Heady Topper, and it was not good.
I could see that.
I uploaded that for science.
The old bitter IPAs, turn into IPA. The non-bitter IPAs just turn into shit when they're old.
It'd be fun to like find like some random bottle shop that just has like 2014 bottles of like Ruination or fucking Ruin 10 like somewhere and be like, hey, let's drink those.
They got to be out there.
It has to be right somewhere.
I wonder if there's like a bottle shop in Whittier. I forgot what it was called, but
Whittier.
I'm serious. That's where it's at. And I went there once and I was in repair at the company I'm at. And so I had my repair, like this whole big ass truck, and they had every celebration for like the previous 10 years.
That's awesome.
And I bought every single one.
You should. You should.
And when I moved, I threw away most of them.
No, you threw them away?
I did. Yeah.
Oh man.
Joe, I had too much beer. It was too much. Maybe I had a couple singles.
Look at you just throwing away money.
Joe, if you're ever up here again, come to my house and I'll let you pick whatever you want for my cellar.
Fuck yeah, I'll do it.
Take as much beer as you'd like to carry home.
I want to say 10% of Jason's cellar is beers that I gave him to get rid of from my closet.
Are they
I've
all
got
like
some
old?
that-
Are they
Happy
brewery beers?
birthday. They're all
No,
brewery.
there's not much brewery beer in mine. Because I never bought brewery beer because everyone I knew all had it.
Yeah.
So like in the peak of my like beer nerd going to bottle shares days when I was going to those parties like a couple times a month, like everyone was RS or hoarders or something, and so everybody will like had brewery stuff. So I didn't need to bring it. If I wanted it, it was there. So I got other stuff. My big focus was Firestone. I have a ton of Firestone in there.
Oh, nice.
I've got like 10 years of anniversary Parabola and the barley wine, Abacus,
Sakaba or whatever.
yeah, Sakaba, yeah.
I mean, one of the cool parts and reasons why I would collect beers, especially in New Year Thursday days, were for the parties, because we would bring, each of us would bring like 50 or 60 beers. And so
Wow.
you come to a party and there's just like buckets of ice, and everyone that came to the party would bring beers and they'd go in the buckets of ice. And then it was Dr. Bill's job to disperse the beers and tell us what we were opening next. It was a whole thing. But the hype was real. And so he'd be like, all right, boys, we're going to open this now. So you need to announce that we're opening this. And we literally just yell out into the crowd, we're opening this beer from vintage, whatever. And we just walk around and we're pouring beers into people's glasses.
That's super cool.
Well, and people would fucking cheer, and it was like an event. I was on the other side of it. And like, yeah, literally, it's like, hey, we're bringing a pour from some fucking bottle you've always wanted to have. And beer famous guy Dr. Bill is like, yeah, here's some, and you're like, oh fuck yeah, I got some beer. Like it was a cool vibe, but like COVID killed bottle shares a lot.
Oh yeah, definitely, because that shit was germy as fuck. Like you were just you're talking to people and then you're like shaking people's hands and you're getting beer on your hand, and the beer on your hand is dripping back into someone's glass.
At least for me, every like beer festival I ever went to, our little group ended up just being like, look, just we all have our germs. Like, we're all sharing glasses and shit, you know, like
exactly. You were guaranteed to, if you went to a beer fest, like the next weekend you were sick no matter what. It was just guaranteed.
I never
every single time. I did.
I
always get colds.
Yeah, I didn't really get sick.
Fucking stand in line, people are sneezing in front of you. I'm like, oh my gosh.
And then Bill would do a bottle shares, or a bottle, like he'd bring 15 cases of beer from his house and do a bottle share at Falling Rock in Denver during GABF in the basement. And it was like, I don't know, what was it, $150 a ticket or something. I don't know, $100 a ticket. Enough for him to basically pay for the beer that he brought, and then for him to make a profit. And then he'd hire us, NBT, to be the people that would go out and disperse beers while he basically sat. You know, he would also pour beers and stuff, but he'd, smoke cigars and just kind of hang out. And
he'd be like, I did all of this.
And then there was like the behind the bar area where you got to come in and hang out with us. And that's where you'd have like Sam from Dogfish Head show up and it's like, hey, it's Sam. And I'm like, oh, you gotta let him back here. And so he'd hang out for a while.
Here's what we gotta do.
Dude, I'm telling you, I was involved in the beer scene at the best possible time, with the best possible people.
We've got to find a TikTok beer influencer that's really blowing up, and then like we got to get him to be like, oh, I totally want the 4Bs to show up at my events, and we're like, oh yeah, we're totally here bringing that old school vibe, right, for the new generation.
Do you think there's like big TikTok beer influencers?
I'm sure, or it's just don't drink beer is also popular there.
Yeah.
No, I think like there are still people into beer. It's just a different scene than.
Yeah, it's it seems way different these days, which is probably for the better because I don't know. I spend an inordinate amount of money, and I have a bunch of beer in my fucking closet that I'm never gonna drink. Like it was stupid. I don't know why I did that.
I'm telling you, Joe, if you ever move, you're gonna look at that beer and go, I want to take this.
I'm never moving. I'm not gonna do it.
Well, I'm saying if that was. Because I didn't think I'd ever move, but the day came, and Yvonne's like, I'm just going to call a guy, and we're going to take this beer. And
that dude's like, I just got all kinds of free beer.
Getting rid of shit you've been holding on to. I My family found termites in my old comic books.
Oh wow.
And so all the comics got thrown out, and also now I have a fun house project.
That sucks, dude.
That
Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah.
Damn.
Gotta get tented and shit. So fuck that. It's gonna
So what
suck.
are you gonna like just cover things up, or are you gonna move stuff out?
I gotta figure all that out. So we'll see.
Yeah, that's.
I think like your clothes and food and shit, like all has to like fucking go out or get covered in poison. So yeah, I got to
Sucks.
figure all that out. It sucks.
That's gnarly.
Yeah,
my parents had to get their house tinted. They never told me, and I was like, "What'd you guys do?" Like, "Oh, we just left everything," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, that doesn't seem safe."
That's how John is. How he is.
That's why
They said it would be fine, so that's what we did. I'm like, "All right, well."
You also lived in a room with like lead-based paint and people smoked in cars. You're fine.
This was after I left the house.
Oh.
Like they bought the house in '85, and
Yeah, but we had boomer parents, so again, yeah, like they
of
probably
course.
smoked and
Everyone
had
fucking
lead
smoked in
paint
cars back
and
then.
Nobody's car had a catalytic converter, so we just breathed exhaust for the first 20 years of our life.
True. All right. Well, I'm going to order those beers from Humblesea and then ship them out to you guys. And
Sweet.
we'll be set up for another. We got the liquid gravity beers. And then
Chew Your Beer thinks we should do a listener question show, which I think is a good idea. Let's figure out a way to like, not next show per se, but like, let's figure out a way to like bring in enough to make it a show worth.
That'd be fun.
Yeah. Because we can't have everyone live. Like on the weekends, people are doing shit.
Dude, we did drink out of hoses. There was times where too, shit was hot and it tasted like plastic.
But when it was cold,
But when it's cold, it was fire.
so good.
Still did taste like rubber. Yeah.
It was like plasticky. Yeah, that shit was awesome. Kids these days just have no idea.
Kids.
Kids these days.
Our parents used to not give a shit if we lived or died. You guys have no clue. We actually care if you die.
I was telling you guys, dude, we're like vehicle shopping right now for my oldest son. And it's like everywhere you go, they're like, yeah, we have used trucks. They're 2021s. And I'm like, what the fuck? That's not really used. Like, that's still brand new. Like, he's not getting that.
What's
like,
the price?
Well, it's more than I want to pay.
Okay.
If you want,
gone are the days of getting
for
a beater.
Teenager used. No, you just got to go to like fucking Facebook and fucking Craigslist for that. That's where I bought my Roadmaster on Craigslist.
My first car was a fucking 87 Camry, dude. It was absolutely thrashed.
Technically, my first car was my dad's Jeep. He had like an 81 CJ7, but I don't count that. And then when I came back from Vegas after I worked there, that was 98. They got me a 91 Chevy S10, like the old boxy one. I ended up putting on airbags and slamming it. It was a complete waste of money, but it looked fucking cool.
Chew Your Beer coming out with Garden Hose IPA. All of my IPA that I homebrewed tasted like it was from a garden hose.
It literally came from a garden hose.
As much as I tried to not. Like everything I tried to do with my water, like it always tasted like a garden hose.
The mistake I made was I just hooked my garden hose up to a filter, and that was my water. And then 2 years into my homebrewing career, if you want to call it, like it was like, you shouldn't do that. I'm like, why? Because it's garden.
I got the nice potable water hose that's meant for RVs and shit. And like
I did the same thing eventually, yeah.
I filtered it. I did all that. It all sucked. The only way I could get my water to not suck was just to get that RO water from the store.
That's what eventually I did the same thing.
Because
you got to get a Berkey.
It cost $25, so or 25 cents. So
Berkeys are like $500.
What's a Berkey?
It's a water filter thing that like you could take. Well, according to the commercials, like the worst water ever, and it purifies it, like makes it perfect.
It's like a little device thing, and
it sits on your counter. It's a big
They put like I think the viral videos are them putting like Coca-Cola in there and like water
it comes out clear.
No, it doesn't.
Look, man, the water from my fridge for my drinking is fine. Like the filter in my refrigerator is more than enough. I'm like, this is perfectly good water. Like I have no complaint.
If you ever buy a new house, like I want to say 10 water filter salespeople have come by, and their thing is like, hey, we're doing this thing. Your neighbors down the street, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, I'm not interested. Well, have you had your water tested? Like, we're doing free water testing. And I'm like, no, I haven't. well, do you want to get no, I don't want I'm
Like,
fine.
no, it's fine.
Well, how do you drink water? I go, we have a filter on the fridge. Like, well, those only do so much. I'm like, dude, I'm fine. Like, I don't need a whole house water filter. And like, they want to put an RO filter on the entire fucking house.
Yeah, no, you have to
I'm
do
like,
that.
dude, no.
It's RO
good.
filters are extremely inefficient at a house level.
It's a waste of water.
It takes a lot of water to make RO water, and yeah. What I was told by multiple people was if you really don't like how your water tastes, put an RO filter on like your sink so you can pour
those
it out
work.
when you want or whatever, and then that's good. But you don't need a whole, like, you don't need your shower water to be RO or your toilet water or your water heater water, which is what you're filtering in a lot of these cases.
I mean,
So-
maybe it would help like a water heater situation because then there's no like minerals and stuff to get deposited into the, the coils or whatever. But
No.
outside of that, it's just not worth it in the long run. But then they guilt you. They're like, you haven't had your water tested. Do you know what's in your water? I'm
There's
like,
always
"No, I
people who
don't."
come to our office and say that, like, do you know what you're drinking? I'm like, do you have any idea how much fucking alcohol I've ingested in my life? Like, it's fine, the water I'm drinking. Like, we're way past that.
What's funny is the all the plumbers I was working with, I had part of my plan when I got my house repiped was to do a whole house water filter, and none of the plumbers were particularly into the idea of installing it. Like, it wasn't, I mean, it doesn't seem like that hard of a job, like, but they were just legitimately like, nah, I wouldn't really recommend it unless you're like trying to do X, Y, or Z.
Yeah.
Water softeners are another thing, but you have to fucking put
They're pain
salts and
too.
shit in.
Yeah.
They all end up being recurring revenue for a company, which is why
Sure.
they sell them
Right.
for filters or whatever.
So yeah, don't get RO for your house if you're watching. Anyway, I think dinner's almost ready with our fresh.
Getting some
zucchini.
zoodles. Get those zoodles, bro.
Those weird looking uninflated zucchinis, but that's fine, I guess.
That's fine.
No,
So thanks
ask.
everyone for. Go ahead, Jason.
I'll give you $5 if you ask Yvonne if she could inflate these more. Can we get more inflated zucchinis?
I said it
next
more
time?
as a joke, but
I know, but
just,
it'd be really funny if you said that joke to your wife.
okay. Anyway. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching. And I think we're recording next Saturday as well. And then Joe's going to be out of town at some point. So next Saturday is our next day. So
Post that in our Discord so I can add it to my calendar.
I will do that.
Thank you.
All right, y'all. Talk to you
Bye,
later.
dudes.